Don't do this, I'm just a secretary. Shiying was the pure and beautiful campus belle once kept by Zhao Chen. When Zhao Chen initially pursued her, he was used to throwing money around, offering 10,000 for a "call me husband," 20,000 for a meal together, and 30,000 for a photo. Shiying, proud and aloof, naturally looked down on Zhao Chen's excessive demands. Later, when Shiying's family elder fell ill, Zhao Chen waved his hand and said, 50,000, be my girlfriend. Then the Zhao family went bankrupt. Zhao Chen dropped out of school and became a workaholic, doing 5 jobs a day to pay off the debt. The wheel of fortune turned. 5 years later, when they met again, Shiying lightly shook the check in her hand and asked, how much will it take to buy you? Chapter 1. What is this about? When Shiying was escorted to the head seat of the dinner table, she saw a man standing in the corner, wearing a mask. His black shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, revealing a small portion of his chest, a look that stood out in contrast to the other well-dressed, elegant men in the private room. The organizer of the dinner, Chen Ku, grinned and said in a flattery-laden tone, I specially invited him for some entertainment. He used to be in the entertainment industry a couple of years ago, the best at singing. Little Zhao, come and sing or dance for everyone. These are big shots you wouldn't normally get to see, so go ahead and show them what you've got. Everyone's gaze fell on the man called Little Zhao. The women looked curious, while the men were utterly disdainful. Only Shiying seemed to study him with interest, feeling like she had seen this person before. Under the mask, Zhao Chen squeezed his eyes shut, then opened them again and began to sing numbly. He had sung in front of others before, but in a setting like this, it made him feel like a lump was lodged in his throat. This was because the woman sitting at the head of the table was his ex-girlfriend, someone he had once kept. The song wasn't too long. After Zhao Chen finished, Shiying responded indifferently, and the others seemed unenthusiastic as well. After all, Zhao Chen's singing was rather average. Zhao Chen quietly stepped back, reaching for the door of the private room, wondering how he could slip away without drawing attention. The man sitting next to Shiying suddenly spoke, don't go yet, why does your voice sound so much like Zhao Chen's? Zhao Chen froze, and that's when he realized the person speaking was Qi Wang, a college classmate of both him and Shiying. Shiying maintained her calm expression as though she hadn't heard anything, but Qi Wang continued with great interest. Do you remember Zhao Chen, Shiying? He was the rich second generation who relentlessly pursued you back in school. I heard he went bankrupt later, dropped out of college, and joined the entertainment industry. I guess he's been out there, singing and entertaining people for a living these past few years. Qi Wang raised his hand to beckon Zhao Chen over, come here and pour me a drink. Zhao Chen didn't dare speak. His voice while singing was different from his normal speaking tone, and he feared being recognized the moment he opened his mouth. This was just too awkward. The others at the table waited eagerly for the show. They didn't know about Zhao Chen's past, but Qi Wang, aside from Shiying, was the most successful businessman here, so no one dared to undermine his authority. Zhao Chen took a deep breath and walked over to pour the drink respectfully. Qi Wang waved his hand, and the glass dropped to the floor. Immediately, his face darkened. Oh, so you really are an ex-celebrity from the entertainment industry. What's the matter? Pouring me a drink is too much of a humiliation for you. The hotel manager, Chen Ku, standing by the door of the private room, was terrified at this sight. He glared viciously at Zhao Chen, Little Zhao, do you still want to keep this job? Apologize to Mr. Qi, now. You really are as annoying as my old classmate, Qi Wang sneered. How about this, you get down on your knees and lick my shoes clean, and I'll let you off. What do you say? Still standing there. Mr. Qi is magnanimous and won't hold it against you. What are you waiting for? Chen Ku urged, even pushing Zhao Chen toward Qi Wang. A lot of thoughts flashed through Zhao Chen's mind: 3 months' worth of unpaid wages with Chen Ku, the rent due for the next quarter, his outstanding credit card payments, and unpaid bills for food. Finally, all he could think of was one person, Shiying. Why did he have to show her the most humiliating version of himself? Bitterness rose in his heart, and he suddenly felt a wave of self-despair. He was wearing a mask now. Shiying wouldn't recognize him. Fine, Mr. Qi, are you interested in the Rongda acquisition project? Shiying suddenly interrupted, cutting off Zhao Chen before he could finish speaking. Qi Wang's eyes brightened, and the attention of the others shifted. The project that Shiying's company, Longshan, was attempting to acquire, Rongda Group, had been a major business topic recently. Typically, Shiying wouldn't let anyone take a share, but this time, she had taken the initiative to mention it, and the others didn't let the opportunity pass. Wang sneered and kicked Zhao Chen aside. "Get lost, get out, disgusting." Zhao Chen didn't dare speak again and quickly left the private room. The topics being discussed behind him were no longer within his reach. He and the others had become worlds apart. Zhao Chen couldn't help but recall the ridiculous things he had done while pursuing Shiying. During the 2 years he chased her, Zhao Chen had gotten used to throwing money at her, giving 10,000 for her to eat, a little more 20,000 for her to wear the clothes he bought, 30,000 for her to cancel her part-time job and spend her birthday with him. When Shiying's family elder fell ill, Zhao Chen waved his hand and said, 50,000, be my girlfriend. 50,000, just the price of a bottle of wine to him. Zhao Chen didn't even blink. He still remembered how Shiying blushed in anger and finally, reluctantly agreed. Later, when Zhao Chen had endured countless cold stares, he understood Shiying's grievances. Now, thinking about it, Zhao Chen wanted to slap himself a few times. 5 years ago, he had been a beast. Now, Shiying stood at the top, and Chen Ku, who held his fate in his hands, was nothing compared to her. If she wanted to crush him, it would be as easy as squeezing an ant. But even if she did take revenge on him, it would be deserved. An inexplicable sense of frustration rose in Zhao Chen's chest. He reached for a cigarette, but instinctively put it back down. Shiying didn't like him smoking. He turned and thought, why did she have the right to control him? They had already broken up. Zhao Chen's frustration grew. This was just absurd. Zhao Chen was preparing to leave when the private room door opened, and Wang walked out. He quickly stepped aside to avoid colliding with him. But Wang unexpectedly raised his hand, and Zhao Chen's mask was knocked to the ground. Zhao Chen cursed in his mind. That bastard had done it on purpose. Zhao Chen, it really is you. Wang suddenly laughed out loud. Old classmate, I really didn't expect you to have fallen to this point now. If you had known this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? I'll show you a clear way. If you kneel down and kowtow to me now, I will give you 200 yuan. What do you think? Before Zhao Chen had time to speak, Shiying also came out. His brain buzzed, and there was only one thought in his mind. It's over. It's really over now. Wang was even more excited when he saw Shiying. He pointed at Zhao Chen and laughed. Boss Du, look, isn't this the stupid rich second generation who used to chase you? He just sang for us to cheer us up. I was wondering why this kid's voice sounded so familiar, and he pretended to be so pretentious with me. What a change of fortune. I didn't expect to meet him here. This stupid ex relied on his few stinky money back then and shamelessly forced you to be with him. Now he has fallen to this point. Is this retribution? Chapter 2. Zhao Chen's heart raced, his face flushed with embarrassment as he turned away from Shiying, not wanting to meet her gaze. He couldn't bear to see any hint of mockery in her cold expression. Finally, Shiying spoke. She glanced at Wang and said nonchalantly, don't waste time on insignificant people. The insignificant person was, of course, Zhao Chen. Wang nodded in agreement. Although he wanted to make a few more sarcastic comments, he noticed Shiying's impatience and refrained from saying anything more. Zhao Chen felt as if he had been pardoned, and quickly left. His mind was consumed with one thought. Shiying saw him, she knew his current situation. They were now worlds apart. If she wanted revenge, it would be easy for her. But, after all, it was him who had used his power to bully her back then. She had every right to get back at him. He had nothing left to lose. What was one life to him? If she wanted it, she could take it. However, as Zhao Chen was about to leave, Chen Ku stopped him and handed him a car key. I remember you can drive, right? Go be a driver. Who should I take? Zhao Chen tried to force a grin, but the anger inside him was almost unbearable. It's Du Zhong's car. Tonight, you'll drive her home. Chen Ku didn't hide his intentions. Wang said you and Du Zhong used to know each other. It's not often you have a chance to contribute to the company, and you're still not satisfied. What are you trying to do? Go on, stop stalling, or forget about your wages this month. Chen Ku pushed him forcefully. Zhao Chen didn't say anything in the end. If Chen Ku knew how badly he had treated Shiying back then, he would certainly want him to stay far away from her, instead of pushing him toward her. But Chen Ku didn't he know, and he too had been forced into this situation. Du Shiying's car was a Porsche, though it was a bit old. Zhao Chen remembered he used to have the same car, the one he liked the most. But after his family went bankrupt, all their luxury cars were sold, and he didn't know where it ended up now. When he saw that Du Shiying was the one getting into the car, her expression remained completely indifferent, as if she didn't know him at all. Zhao Chen realized how much she had changed. He couldn't help but feel a bit impressed. Du Shiying truly was someone who could achieve great things. She had such a broad mind. He had been too small-minded back then. Du Zong, where do you live? Once in the car, Zhao Chen asked respectfully. The interior of the car reminded him of the style he had chosen back in the day. For a moment, he almost felt like he was still in his 20s, driving his girlfriend back to school, full of pride. He almost said, "Baby, sit tight, I'm taking you for a ride." Du Shiying remained silent for a while, so long that Zhao Chen began to wonder if she hadn't heard him. Just as he was about to ask again, Du Shiying turned on the car's navigation. Zhao Chen took a glance at the destination, and his heart skipped a beat. He involuntarily turned his head to look at Du Shiying. Was she joking? Du Shiying remained calm, unaffected. Zhao Chen, however, couldn't stay composed. The destination on the navigation was Wenhui Garden, located in the city center, right next to their alma mater, a university. The house at Wenhui Garden was not cheap, but it hardly matched Du Shiying's wealth. What was even more shocking was that this was the same property he had gifted to Du Shiying 5 years ago. An 8 million yuan house as a gift for being together for only 8 days. Zhao Chen remembered Du Shiying's astonished expression that day. Du Shiying had refused to accept such an extravagant gift, but Zhao Chen had insisted, saying it was his gift to her home. She accepted it reluctantly but insisted that since it was a home, they should each own half. She promised to earn 4 million to give back to him. At the time, Zhao Chen thought she was talking nonsense and didn't take it seriously. A few months later, Zhao Chen broke up with her, and that house, which had once been home, became just another gift. Du Shiying had said she wanted to return it, but Zhao Chen had casually called it a breakup fee, forcing her to leave in tears. Now, 5 years later, Zhao Chen stared blankly at the navigation location. Was Du Shiying still living in that same house in Wenhui Garden? His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. Just as he was about to ask, Du Shiying rubbed her forehead and said, "Oh, sorry, that's my friend's place." Zhao Chen watched as Du Shiying tapped the screen, changing the location. Yuzhen number 1, a famous upscale area. That was more like it. "All right, we're ready to go," Du Shiying said as she settled back in her seat. Zhao Chen suppressed his anxiety and even forced a smile. Du Shiying didn't speak. She leaned back in her seat and fell silent. How long had it been since she had truly seen this man? It had been 5 years. Those old photos and videos couldn't really count as seeing him. Just like 5 years ago, Du Shiying's beautiful face remained the same, but now there were 2 added layers of weariness. The forced smile on her face made it hard for others to feel good about it. A simple address had scared him this much. Du Shiying couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Wasn't he supposed to be bold? So why was he so afraid now? The car stopped in front of Yuzhen number 1, but Du Shiying didn't let Zhao Chen drive in. Zhao Chen understood. Someone at Du Shiying's level would never let anyone know exactly where they lived so easily. But once here, the security guards would help park the car in the right spot. Du Zong, I'll be leaving now, Zhao Chen said quickly, preparing to leave. No need to even say goodbye. There was no need for them to meet again. It wasn't easy to catch a taxi here, and it was already deep into the night. Zhao Chen felt a little dejected. Was he going to be stuck here and not able to go home tonight? Perhaps he had had a bad night, but just when Zhao Chen thought things couldn't get worse, he finally caught a break. Within 5 minutes, a taxi pulled up beside him. Zhao Chen smiled and immediately got into the car. But when he saw the 200 yuan taxi fare when he got home, he felt a pang of regret. 200 yuan, how long would he have to work for those capitalist dogs to earn that back? Today was a huge loss. Du Shiying watched Zhao Chen walk away, saw him get into the taxi, and then turned the car around to head back to Wenhui Garden. She hadn't had any alcohol. Getting Zhao Chen to drive was just an opportunity to spend some time alone with him. It seemed that he was even more timid than she had thought. Yes, she did own property at Yushan number 1, but she didn't live there. She still lived at Wenwei Garden, the same place where a certain fraudster had promised to give her a home. Meanwhile, back at home, Zhao Chen opened his phone. The long quiet class group chat was now buzzing with activity. Apparently, Du Shiying's return to the country and her rise as a new business tycoon in City C was no longer a secret. The classmates were discussing it excitedly, with some almost spilling over with excitement from just watching the drama unfold. Do you think now that Du Shiying is so powerful, Zhao Chen's life is going to be miserable? Well, of course. Someone angrily replied, what is Zhao Chen even worth? Back then, just because his family had a little money, he bullied people everywhere. He even took advantage of the situation and forced Du Shiying to be with him. Doesn't he think about whether he deserves it? Chapter 3. Well, it's karma. He just broke up with his goddess, and now his family is bankrupt. He didn't even finish college. I wonder where he is begging for food now. Du Shiying definitely won't let Zhao Chen off their hook. We just need to sit back and enjoy the show. Shiying then elaborated on everything that had happened today, adding more fuel to the fire in the group chat. He emphasized just how miserable Zhao Chen had been. Feigning sympathy, Shiying said, if I were as embarrassed as him, I'd rather die. What is the point of living like this? The classmates were even more excited, fervently expressing regret that they weren't there in person to see Zhao Chen's misery. They didn't even realize Zhao Chen himself was still in the group. Zhao Chen didn't want to argue with them. Besides, what could he do? You couldn't exactly shut people's mouths. A sleepless night followed. The morning was tough for workers, especially for Zhao Chen, who had not only embarrassed himself in front of his ex-girlfriend but also wasted an extra 200 yuan on a taxi. Zhao Chen hurried to punch in with his breakfast bun in hand. He hadn't even taken a bite when he was called into the office. Chen Ku greeted him with a smile that wrinkled his face. Xiao Zhao, come on, come sit. Zhao Chen took a deep breath, the unpleasantness killing his appetite for breakfast. Manager, what do you need? Please, tell me, Zhao Chen said. Chen Ku, already looking sleazy, grinned even more creepily. Xiao Zhao, you know I've always treated you well. Back then, you had no skills, no education, and you were in the entertainment industry. Wanting a good job was unlikely, but I saw your potential and gave you a chance. Zhao Chen sneered inwardly. Yeah, that chance involved him acting like a male model, often going out to drink and sing for customers, without even overtime pay. Damn capitalist pigs. Chen Ku finally got to the point. You sent Du Zong back last night, did anything happen? No, nothing happened, Zhao Chen replied seriously, his aura darkening. Chen Ku clearly wanted to use him to get at Du Shiying, but Zhao Chen wouldn't let that happen. Zhao Chen quickly said, I used to know Du Zong, but that was because I offended her. If I keep showing up in front of her, we might not even keep this small company. He thought that would stop Chen Ku from pursuing any ulterior motives, but he was wrong. Chen Ku didn't believe him and shrugged. Then why did Du Zong just call and say she wanted to transfer you to her company? Transfer? Zhao Chen was stunned. What was going on? You don't know. Chen Ku smiled knowingly, with a hint of flirtation in his tone. Come on, what else could it be? The only thing you have is your looks. As long as someone is willing to pay for that, you're good to go. All right, hurry up and go. Don't keep Du Zong waiting. I'm not going, Zhao Chen quickly retorted. He didn't know why Du Shiying was doing this, but he wasn't going to let her manipulate him so easily. This isn't up to you, Chen Ku suddenly switched to a more serious tone. You still have 2 years on your contract with the company. If you don't go, can you afford the penalty? Think about your unpaid huabei, jibei, and credit card bills. Do you really have the guts to be stubborn? Zhao Chen felt deflated, like a punctured balloon. He didn't have the luxury of being willful. At 2 p.m., Zhao Chen arrived at Longshan building on time. Du Shiying's secretary had been waiting downstairs and took him directly to Du Shiying's office. Before they could even reach the office, they heard shouting from inside. A sharp female voice was heard, I'm telling you, whether you want to marry or not, you'll marry. Just then, the door to Du Shiying's office opened, and a middle-aged woman hurried out. Zhao Chen keenly noticed the mess inside Du Shiying's office. Clearly, Du Shiying wasn't expecting to see him. She just asked the secretary to assign him some tasks. You're now Du Zhong's second secretary. I'll tell you what needs to be done. For everything else, just follow Du Zhong's lead. After dropping that line, the secretary named Wang hurried out, leaving Zhao Chen awkwardly standing in the office area while others sized him up. Zhao Chen wasn't sure what Du Shiying meant by all this. He wanted to ask, but it seemed like she was dealing with a problem, so he held back. He sat there all afternoon, and it seemed like everyone knew he was just a useless connection, but no one questioned it. As the workday neared its end, Du Shiying came out of her office. Zhao Chen hurriedly lowered his head, hoping no one would notice him. But unexpectedly, Du Shiying walked right up to him, her slender fingers tapping lightly on his desk. She spoke softly, "Come have dinner with me." Zhao Chen recited in his mind the thought that it was his job to accompany the boss to dinner, reminding himself to maintain composure. The two of them were silent on their way to the restaurant. They quietly ate their meal once it was served. Zhao Chen was used to high-end restaurants, but it was his first time in a place like this in years. At that moment, Du Shiying pointed to the crab and casually said, "Peel it for me." Zhao Chen hesitated for a second, then immediately nodded and began peeling the crab. However, he couldn't help but recall a memory from the past. When Du Shiying's family was poor, she had never eaten seafood. The first time she had crab, she didn't know where to start. He gently told her that the shell was too rough and could damage her hands, so he offered to peel it for her, asking her to just enjoy the meal. When they were together, Du Shiying never peeled shellfish herself. Even when they visited upscale hotels, and she learned all the dining etiquette, Zhao Chen never let her do the work. After finishing his meal, Zhao Chen quietly sat there, watching Du Shiying eat. Her elegance had remained unchanged over the years. When Du Shiying suddenly looked up, their eyes met, and Zhao Chen realized he had been staring at her. Embarrassed, Zhao Chen coughed awkwardly and turned his head, desperately pretending nothing had happened. Du Shiying smirked and spoke softly, "Let us go, we're heading back." "I'll take you home?" Zhao Chen asked, his mind racing with thoughts of getting his boss home so he could leave for the day. But to his surprise, Du Shiying shook her head. "Not yet. You'll take me home, and then you're staying for overtime." "Overtime?" "It's already 7 p.m., Zhao Chen said, a bit helpless. She was truly a workaholic. No wonder she had built such a massive empire. "Then you're working hard, Du Zhong," Zhao Chen chuckled, but Du Shiying shook her head. "It's not just me. It's you too." Chapter 4. What? Zhao Chen's eyes widened in shock. He didn't have any tasks at work, so why did he have to work overtime? Du Shiying said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, "You're my secretary, so naturally, you'll leave when I leave. But don't worry, there's overtime pay 3 times the normal rate." These words greatly reassured Zhao Chen's fragile heart. He immediately agreed, thinking that since he was a lonely single man with nothing to do at home, it would be better to stay at the office and save on air conditioning fees. With that in mind, Zhao Chen stopped resisting and pretended to be willing to work overtime for the company until he dropped. Once Du Shiying returned to the company, she immediately entered work mode, sitting at her desk without moving for 4 whole hours. After Zhao Chen had watched 2 movies out of sheer boredom, he realized that it was already late at night. He couldn't let the boss continue working overtime. Steeling himself, Zhao Chen went to Du Shiying's office door, just as he saw her raise her head, pressing her hand against her neck, her delicate brows furrowing in discomfort. Zhao Chen almost couldn't control his instincts and stepped forward, but he stopped himself just in time. If this had been 5 years ago, he would have quickly walked behind Du Shiying, massaged her shoulders and neck, and firmly told her to stop working, as she needed rest. But now, Zhao Chen clenched his teeth and said, "Ms. Du, it's already late. Shouldn't you be heading home?" Take me home." Du Shiying stood up, but just as she was about to walk past Zhao Chen, she suddenly staggered and nearly fell forward. Zhao Chen had no time to think and instinctively caught her tightly. Du Shiying's long hair brushed against Zhao Chen's cheek, and his body uncontrollably shuddered. The intense shiver almost made him forget where he was, but once he steadied Du Shiying, he stepped back awkwardly. "I'm sorry, Ms. Du, I didn't mean to." "It's fine, thank you." Du Shiying clearly wasn't upset with Zhao Chen. The two left the company and headed to Du Shiying's home. Zhao Chen's mind kept replaying the embrace, if it could even be called an embrace. When they arrived at Du Shiying's house around midnight, she casually said, "It's late." You should stay here tonight. That would be too inconvenient. I can't do that. I need to go home. Zhao Chen was flustered and hurriedly refused. How could he possibly stay at Du Shiying's place? That was absolutely out of the question. His reaction was almost as if he were a good girl being eyed by a sleazy guy, and Du Shiying was helpless. What are you thinking? There are plenty of rooms here. Of course, you can stay. Indeed, with such a large house, there was plenty of space for Zhao Chen. But Zhao Chen just didn't want to stay. Before he could reject her again, Du Shiying said sternly, "Enough. Don't say more. Just pick a guest room. We have to wake up early for work tomorrow." Du Shiying said this as she stomped up the stairs, her heels clicking loudly. She was clearly angry. Zhao Chen looked at the front door, almost wanting to escape. The grand mansion, which others might long for, felt like a den of tigers and dragons to him. Du Shiying stood on the second floor, her figure half hidden in the shadows, watching Zhao Chen struggle with his decision. Du Shiying thought to herself, if you leave now, you'll regret it. In the end, Zhao Chen didn't dare to leave. He reluctantly picked a guest room and stayed there. Lying in bed, Zhao Chen couldn't fall asleep for a long time. He never expected that one day, he would be sleeping under the same roof as Du Shiying. But he still couldn't understand why she was doing this. She had brought him into her company, paying him a handsome salary to do nothing, letting him stay idle and do no work at all. Was she trying to keep him as her kept man? No, that couldn't be it. Zhao Chen quickly dismissed that narcissistic thought. He wasn't worthy of that. With Du Shiying's current status, there was no reason for her to waste time on someone like him. In a daze, Zhao Chen fell asleep, and when he woke up the next morning, it took him a few minutes to realize that this wasn't a dream. He really had spent the night at Du Shiying's house. It was surreal, but the surreal part wasn't over. As Zhao Chen stepped out of the room, he found Du Shiying already sitting at the dining table with breakfast for two. Her calm demeanor made it seem as though this scene had happened countless times before. "Come eat breakfast," she said. This scene was so overwhelming that Zhao Chen couldn't fully recover from the shock until after finishing his meal. "Was it good?" Du Shiying asked. Zhao Chen nodded, but in truth, the shock was too much, and he couldn't even taste the food. Du Shiying seemed to smile slightly before getting up and leaving. Suddenly, Zhao Chen realized where did this breakfast come from. Could it be that Du Shiying made it herself? Impossible. She wouldn't do that. She could easily get rid of him without needing to poison him. With her status, why would she cook for him? An hour later, both of them arrived at the office. Zhao Chen could already feel the curious stares from his colleagues, given how Du Shiying had treated him yesterday. However, Zhao Chen was used to such stares and didn't mind. He thought that he would have another idle day, but to his surprise, Du Shiying personally assigned him tasks early in the morning. Not only that, she asked him to move into her office and sit beside her to work. Back in college, Zhao Chen had loved sitting next to Du Shiying while she studied. He called it studying together, but in truth, he just wanted to be close to her. But now, what did this mean? Zhao Chen's mind was in turmoil. What was Du Shiying doing? Why was she acting this way? Was this some new method to manipulate him? Zhao Chen's thoughts were unknown to Du Shiying, or if she did know, she didn't show it. The morning passed quickly. At lunchtime, Du Shiying didn't go out to eat. Secretary Wang ordered food and had it delivered to the office, including a portion for Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen could no longer deceive himself into thinking that everything was normal. Otherwise, why didn't Secretary Wang eat with them? Frustrated, Zhao Chen finally spoke up, "Ms. Du, is this really appropriate? What's wrong with it?" Du Shiying replied nonchalantly, clearly not seeing any issue with the arrangement. Zhao Chen's scalp tingled with pressure as he said, "I'm just an ordinary employee. I can't stay in your office all the time or eat with you. I'll go out and eat." He said this as he tried to sneak away. Internally, he was desperately hoping that Du Shiying wouldn't be upset. Du Shiying didn't respond, and just as Zhao Chen was about to reach the door, she stopped him, "Come here." Zhao Chen sighed internally. He couldn't escape now. Reluctantly, Zhao Chen walked back to Du Shiying's side. Du Shiying calmly looked at him. She didn't say anything, but Zhao Chen felt the pressure from her gaze. He lowered his head, avoiding her intense stare. Finally, Du Shiying spoke, I'm getting married. Chapter 5. What? Zhao Chen suddenly raised his head and stared at Du Shiying. He had thought about what this person would say before. They were all questions about whether to have dinner together, but he didn't expect her to say that she was getting married. But even if she was getting married, what did it have to do with him? Everyone has to get married. Du Shiying is now in her prime and has a successful career. What's wrong with getting married? But why tell him this? Isn't he just a secretary? What qualifications does he have to control whether the boss gets married or not? Also, weren't they talking about whether to have dinner together? With all these messy thoughts piled up together, Zhao Chen was a little irritated and instinctively wanted to retreat. He laughed, it's good to get married, congratulations, Mr. Du. You think it's good? Du Shiying raised her eyebrows and made a note of Zhao Chen in her heart. He was so brave that he dared to bless her. Of course it's good to get married. Zhao Chen had calmed down by now. If Du Shiying was willing, he could say a lot of auspicious words about living together till old age and having a son soon. Although he still felt uncomfortable, his face had returned to its usual indifference. But I don't want to get married. Du Shiying snorted coldly, my family forced me to get married, and I don't want to get married. Zhao Chen's eyes widened again, and suddenly he thought of the scene he saw yesterday. It turned out that Du Shiying was forced to get married. She is so outstanding, but she is still forced to get married? Zhao Chen couldn't help but think divergently, but Du Shiying interrupted him. So I need you to help me. What can I do for you? Zhao Chen looked confused. He could have married Du Shiying when she was forced to get married a few years ago, but now, what else can he do? Du Shiying was too lazy to waste time with him and said bluntly. My marriage partner's family cares a lot about their reputation, so I need you to follow me every day and show that we are very ambiguous, so that they can take the initiative to cancel the engagement, and I will give you a very generous reward. Why must it be me? Zhao Chen finally understood why Du Shiying did these things that were easy to be misunderstood. It turned out that it was to avoid being forced into marriage. I can't tell what I feel in my heart. This answer is much better than her deliberately making trouble for me. But why must this person be him? Have you forgotten what you did to me back then? Du Shiying smiled softly, 500,000, let me be your girlfriend, how much are you worth now? Du Shiying took out a check and put it in front of Zhao Chen, here is a blank check, fill in how much money you want. Du Shiying turned her head away, I chose you only because we had a relationship before, and if my ambiguous object is you, it will be more convincing. Otherwise, if I just find someone to be ambiguous now, my family will definitely not believe it. Du Shiying's words are reasonable and well-founded, and Zhao Chen can't easily refute it. It's just that after many years, Zhao Chen finally experienced Du Shiying's embarrassment back then. He is really a beast. Why don't you die if you use money to pressure people? Zhao Chen was interrupted by Du Shiying before he could finish his words. Du Shiying casually said, if you are not satisfied with the conditions, you can ask for them. As for rejection, don't say it. I want to say, I agree. Zhao Chen spoke bitterly, and returned to his laughing face. Who would refuse such a good thing? President Du is generous, and I am not stupid. Besides, it is my blessing to have a scandal with President Du, Zhao Chen couldn't help but said in the face of Du Shiying's increasingly cold face, saying that he was extremely flattering. I was young and ignorant before, and did some things that were not worthy of being on the stage. President Du is generous, please don't bother with me, and just tell me if you need me in the future. Zhao Chen said and walked out of the office quickly. It is always difficult to tell the truth. From the first time he saw Du Shiying, he wanted to apologize. He was wrong about what happened back then. Du Shiying finally smiled until Zhao Chen walked away. Fool. Do you really think that there is still someone who can force her now? It's just a show for him to see. Zhao Chen, how can I make you take the bait if I don't do this? You should apologize, but not this. After hiding on the rooftop for half an hour, Zhao Chen finally felt hungry slowly. When he returned to his workstation reluctantly, he saw several lunch boxes on it. Secretary Wang casually said, eat quickly, and go to President Du's studio after eating. Zhao Chen sighed secretly and buried his head in eating in the eyes of everyone. 10 minutes later, Zhao Chen sat next to Du Shiying again, watching her handle their work with ease. An afternoon passed by in a flash. Before leaving get off work, Du Shiying said, there is a class reunion in the evening, you come with me. What class reunion? Zhao Chen was a little confused, and heard Du Shiying say, college class reunion. Zhao Chen turned on his mobile phone, and sure enough, those people were clamoring to hold a class reunion. They kept tagging him, asking him if he didn't dare to go. Forget it, it's better for me not to show up in such occasions. Zhao Chen shook his head and laughed twice at himself. Du Shiying frowned. I'm not informing you, not asking for your opinion. That won't work either. This is not a class reunion, this is simply sure a hell. Zhao Chen still didn't want to go, and took 2 steps back, as if he would rather die than go to the class reunion. Du Shiying looked at Zhao Chen and found it a little funny, but her face was still cold. 10,000, go with me. No. Zhao Chen said he was a secretary with principles. Second secretary. 20,000. Du Shiying raised 2 fingers. No. It's my time to get off work in the evening, you can't squeeze out my surplus value. Okay, I'll go by myself. Seeing that Zhao Chen really didn't want to go, Du Shiying gave up on asking for a price. Well, actually 20,000 is also fine, VX or ZFB. Zhao Chen got anxious when he found that Du Shiying stopped raising the price. He was still thinking about cheating more big dogs. Why didn't he raise the price? Du Shiying turned her head away and ignored the payment code on Zhao Chen's phone, and said lightly, it's too late, I don't have money to go now. You can't do this, you just agreed. Zhao Chen still didn't give up, looking at Du Shiying with wide eyes. Mr. Du, you will definitely keep your word, right? Throw money at him. Throw money at him quickly, let him enjoy the feeling of being thrown at by money. Just now was just now is now, not only do you have no money now, but you still have to go. Du Shiying tried hard to hold back her laughter. She hadn't felt so relaxed for a long time. Perhaps this feeling only exists when she is with Zhao Chen. Okay. Although Zhao Chen was a little unwilling, he has always been a man who keeps his word, and it is impossible for him to agree and then regret it. Chapter 6. Du Shiying nodded slightly, and then ordered, pack up, I'll take you to change clothes after get off work, your clothes are not suitable. What's wrong with it? Zhao Chen looked down at his clothes. Except for being a little white after washing, there were no stains. If I say it's not suitable, then it's not suitable. Go get ready. Du Shiying didn't give Zhao Chen a chance to refute, and kicked Zhao Chen out of the office, then laughed. Zhao Chen, after so many years, you are still the same as before. Du Shiying muttered to herself and turned on her phone. Soon, her beautiful eyebrows frowned again. In the class group, the crusade against Zhao Chen continued. Zhao Chen, I know you are watching, why don't you say something? Weren't you very capable in college? Why don't you dare to say anything now? Yes. Zhao Chen, please say something if you are coming or not, we can count the number of people and arrange the seats then. Don't ask Zhao Chen, he is a busy man now, he probably has to sell PG in the evening, how can he have time to party with us? But the next second, she suddenly laughed. Zhao Chen replied in the class group, my appearance fee is very expensive now, how about you guys join forces, I will give you 20% off. How much can your appearance fee be? I paid it all by myself. Shiying tagged Zhao Chen. 99, 20% off is 88. Shiying initiated a transfer to Zhao Chen, the amount is 100 yuan. I will transfer 100 to you directly, and the rest of the money will be a tip. Shiying noted after the transfer. However, Zhao Chen did not receive the money for a long time. Shiying, take it. It's not the first time you see such a large sum of money, so you don't dare to take it. When Shiying said this, there were countless laughs below. But then, Zhao Chen's message appeared mixed with laughter. I forgot to mark the unit is W, thank you for the 120,000 tip, Boss Chi, transfer it, Boss Chi. The class group was instantly stagnant, and the messages criticizing Zhao Chen came one after another. Even with Du Shiying's eyesight of 10 lines at a glance, it was a bit overwhelming. But something that shocked Du Shiying even more happened. Zhao Chen was actually replying to these words criticizing him at a fast speed, not only replying quickly but also without repeating. With this hand speed, he has not been single for all these years, right? Du Shiying felt that it was very likely, and her mood became more cheerful. She also wrote a line in the class group, everyone stop arguing, Zhao Chen will go tonight. The class group was stagnant again, and this time the silence lasted for a minute. Even Zhao Chen, who was typing furiously on an antique computer and preparing to express his beautiful Chinese to the fullest, was stunned. What is Du Shiying doing? Huh? When it was time to get off work, Du Shiying pushed open the office door on time. At some point, she had already changed into a set of casual clothes and walked out. Looking at Du Shiying, who was lazy but capable, Zhao Chen silently gave her a score. If Du Shiying's previous OL suit was 98 points, her current casual clothes were only 88 points. There was no other reason, it was simply because there were no exposed white legs, so points must be deducted. Driving Du Shiying to the designated location, Zhao Chen did not want to get off the car. What's wrong? Du Shiying glanced at him. You just cursed so much in the class group, now you don't dare to go. Or I'll wait for you here. I'm afraid I'll be eaten alive if I go up. Zhao Chen did not lie. He just cursed all the people in the class group with their 8 generations of ancestors as the radius. Now if he goes to the party, it would be strange if these people don't fight him to death. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. You have to go whether you want to or not. Du Shiying said coldly, but the corners of her mouth inadvertently curled up slightly. It's a pity that Zhao Chen didn't catch this scene, otherwise he would never agree to the other party like now. Zhao Chen nodded as if he accepted his fate, and got off the car with a dejected look. The wind is whistling and the Ishui is cold. Once Zhao Chen leaves, it will be hard to come back. A little surprise flashed in Du Shiying's eyes. Although this word is very common and is also in the ancient poems that college entrance examination candidates must memorize, it is impossible for Zhao Chen, who went to college but is as thin as a fish, to know it. Has the other party been studying secretly in the past few years without telling me? The more Du Shiying thought about it, the more she felt that this was the case, and her eyes could not help but shine when she looked at Zhao Chen. And Zhao Chen just wanted to say, I am a thief Jingku. I took the bag and killed people. Don't sigh, go change your clothes first, there is a shopping mall downstairs in the hotel. Du Shiying walked towards the elevator without looking back, and Zhao Chen followed her step by step. Entering the mall, Zhao Chen was immediately scared by the big brands gathered here and wanted to leave. The slightly larger storefronts are basically luxury brands. In the corners of the major luxury brand stores, there is occasionally an inconspicuous light luxury store. Although these stores are not big, the expensive prices of the items in them make Zhao Chen want to die. Even a piece of clothing that doesn't look like it has much fabric costs at least for figures. After walking around the mall, Du Shiying let Zhao Chen choose by himself, and she walked quickly towards the bathroom. Looking at the direction where Du Shiying left, Zhao Chen muttered, it turns out that fairies can also poop, so disgusting. Then he looked for the cheapest brand in the mall. As for how he distinguished them, it was very simple. After all, he was also a rich second generation before, and he was not unfamiliar with these luxury brands. As long as he had never heard of or seen them, and the storefronts were remote and narrow, the prices must be relatively cheap. Finally, in the most inconspicuous corner of the mall, Zhao Chen found a store called Spapser. Even though he didn't understand the meaning of this string of English. The clothes in the store were gorgeous but not messy, and there was no one except the only 2 shop assistants. At this time, a male shop assistant was sitting on the sofa playing with his mobile phone crazily, and various battle reports came from the speakers from time to time. When another female clerk saw Zhao Chen coming in, she looked at him frivolously and continued to watch Douyin. Zhao Chen was no longer surprised by this kind of clerk who looked down on others. He picked up a set of clothes and was immediately shocked by the price. This little piece of tattered clothes actually cost him 6 figures. Now Zhao Chen finally understood the meaning of that string of English, a black shop. Zhao Chen quickly put the clothes back and prepared to leave the store. He suddenly felt that the store where a piece of clothing only cost 4 figures was pretty good. At the same time, the male clerk who was originally sitting in the corner suddenly said, fuck. These pig teammates. Then he looked at Zhao Chen, you came in to look at the clothes but didn't buy them. You just touched that piece of clothing. If you don't buy it, you have to pay the depreciation fee. It was obvious that he was going to vent his anger on Zhao Chen. Chapter 7. I'm not a buddy, and the clothes are not women. You want me to be responsible for touching them? Zhao Chen was stunned. Are the reasons for black shops to overcharge customers so absurd now? The male clerk was also stunned by Zhao Chen's abstract remarks. But then, he stood up and glared at Zhao Chen. Then you are right. If you touch the clothes in our store, you have to be responsible. As he said, he took the clothes off, checked the clothes, and pointed at a thread that was worn out at some point. Look, you have damaged this here, just tell me whether you will pay for it or not. This was also the first time Zhao Chen saw such an incredible operation. But he only paused and walked out. It's none of my business. What's the difference between you and using a lantern to determine the damage? If you really think that the clothes have been damaged by me, call the police. Otherwise, don't bother me, I have something else to do. The female clerk who was watching Douyin saw that Zhao Chen wanted to leave, and quickly blocked the door. Don't think about leaving if you don't pay for it. They all eat on a basic salary. Although the commission is high, they basically sell only a few pieces a month. Seeing that Zhao Chen seemed to be a soft persimmon, he cooperated with the male clerk. Zhao Chen was amused by the two clerks' coquettish actions, so he simply didn't leave. He wanted to see what tricks the other party could do next. Even if you compensate us for 5% of the original price of the clothes, the original price of this clothes is 128,000. I will give you a zero, and you just need to compensate us 6,000. Yes. If you don't pay, we will call the police and arrest you. 6,000. Zhao Chen was shocked by the other party's lion's mouth, and he also estimated his current net worth. 16 yuan in bank cards, 8.4 yuan in V exchange, and 3.8 yuan in ZFB balance. If he tried to make up for it, he could give a good review for the 9.930 pairs of socks he bought some time ago, and he should be able to get 30 yuan. Without using the last 1,300 yuan of hidden energy in Huabei, he could just have a pig's trotter meal before going in. Isn't 6,000 too expensive? Zhao Chen thought for a long time and chose to compromise. Du Shiying should still be waiting for him now, and 30 yuan compensation is barely acceptable. 6,000 is expensive? How is 6,000 expensive? Our clothes are worth this price. If you don't pay the money today, don't even think about leaving this door. Look at how poor you are. If you really can't do it, go to online loans. But the female clerk was relentless and blocked the door even tighter, fearing that Zhao Chen would sneak away. They heard from Zhao Chen's words that Zhao Chen was ready to pay the money and the proportion of the ill-gotten gains had been discussed in their eye contact. Seeing this, Zhao Chen chose to give up, because he couldn't afford to pay anyway, and the other party wanted to waste time, and he had no choice. However, just as Zhao Chen was in a state of embarrassment, Du Shiying's cold shout rang out from outside the door. Who gave you the courage to accept such black-hearted money? Hearing Du Shiying's voice, Zhao Chen was so embarrassed that he wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. At the most embarrassing moment, he met the person he cared about the most. God, if you want him to die, just say it directly, you don't have to use this method. Hearing Du Shiying's cold shout, a trace of displeasure flashed across the clerk's face, but when they turned around and saw Du Shiying's outfit, the displeasure was quickly hidden. Madam, you misunderstood. Our store does have a clear rule that as long as the customer damages the items, they must compensate according to the price. The male clerk stepped forward to explain, and the female clerk immediately said, Yes, madam, we only ask this gentleman to pay 5% of the compensation, which is already the most righteous. If it is less, the boss may hold us accountable. Oh? There is such a rule. The frost on Du Shiying's face became more and more solid. The two clerks looked at each other and nodded. Yes, madam, our store has always had this rule. Then how could I, as the boss, not know? Du Shiying's words shocked the two clerks, and their calves began to tremble. You are Mr. Du. The male clerk confirmed again as if he didn't believe it. Are you the owner of this store? Zhao Chen was also a little confused. How many businesses does Du Shiying have? It seems that I haven't come down for a walk for too long, and you people don't remember. Okay. I want to see how much dirty money you have received. Du Shiying took out her mobile phone and dialed the number. The call was quickly connected, and the anger in her voice was no longer suppressed. Lin Feifan. You go to our store in the Seaside Hotel now, immediately, and I need you to give me an explanation. Beep. After hanging up the phone, Du Shiying looked at Zhao Chen, and the anger in her eyes disappeared, replaced by a hint of apology. Zhao Chen, you don't have to worry about this matter, you go upstairs to the party first, I will come later. Zhao Chen saw this, no more words, nodded and went up to the floor where the party was held. At the invitation of the receptionist, Zhao Chen entered a private room, where 7 or 8 men and women were sitting, surrounding Qi Wan and flattering him. Boss Qi, I heard that Boss Du asked you to join the acquisition of Rongda. I heard that this is a big deal. After this, your assets will double. Yes. Boss Chi, can you share your experience? How did you get Boss Tu to agree to let you join? Chi Wang was very proud and his face was flushed, which was completely different from his previous servility in front of Du Shiying. What experience is there? It's just that we have feelings for each other. You don't know, Shiying has always been interested in me since college. You didn't see it. Chi Wang said, his eyes unconsciously glanced out the door, and happened to see Zhao Chen, who was about to find a small corner to hide. He raised his voice and glared at Zhao Chen. It's just because of a bastard who forced Shiying to be with him from beginning to end, otherwise we might be a good story now. Following Chi Wang's gaze, the classmates all saw Zhao Chen, who was about to reach the invisible time. Forced to show up, Zhao Chen's face was full of helplessness. Sure enough, being handsome is also a kind of trouble, and you will attract attention wherever you go. Seeing Zhao Chen, the classmates all flashed disgust on their faces, and then someone mocked, "Hey! Zhao Chen, you actually dare to come here, can't it be because of what President Du said in the group that you want to come here to find a sense of existence?" The person who spoke was named Liu Yu, who was Zhao Chen's class monitor in college and a woman who wanted Zhao Chen but couldn't get him. Although the other party was not a few points worse than Du Shiying, in college, even if she pursued Zhao Chen, she didn't even get Zhao Chen's WeChat. Not only that, she confessed to Zhao Chen again and again in private, but was rejected by Zhao Chen every time, so she held a grudge. If Zhao Chen's family went bankrupt, besides Chi Wang, she was the one who was most happy. The former was simply jealous, while she simply wanted to see Zhao Chen in dire straits. Only when Zhao Chen was in dire straits could she regain all the self-esteem she had lost. Chi Wang walked a few steps to Zhao Chen and looked down at him. "Zhao Chen, you are really shameless. You knew Shiying would come, but you still dared to come. You don't want to get back the money you used to humiliate Shiying." Chi Wang said, raising his leg and kicking Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen didn't notice and was kicked to the ground by Chi Wang. Chi Wang seemed to be unsatisfied and spit on Zhao Chen. "Bar. Zhao Chen, you are a dog, get out of here as far as you can, I'm annoyed when I see you." Chapter 8. Zhao Chen was kicked to the ground, but no one came forward to help him, and the laughter became more intense. Mr. Chi is right. Zhao Chen is just a dog. He can only lie on the ground. Har har har. Bar. For a man like Zhao Chen, even if he is my dog, I still think he is dirty. In the crowd, Liu Yu was very happy to see Zhao Chen in such a state. Now she is being kept by Chi Wang. The monthly maintenance fee is at least 50,000 yuan. In addition, she is beautiful and usually takes some private orders. If she does not rest, her monthly income exceeds 6 figures. For a poor male model like Zhao Chen, she naturally looks down on him. Seeing Chi Wang's flushed face, Liu Yu taunted him with great insight. "Zhao Chen, do you still remember that you pursued me in college? After being rejected 3 times by me, you still pestered me. If I had been deceived by you at that time, I would probably be selling myself like you now." Liu Yu said, stepped forward and hugged Chi Wang's arm, and snuggled in Chi Wang's arms. "Fortunately, I finally met Brother Wang, otherwise I couldn't live such a rich life." Zhao Chen sighed secretly as he looked at Liu Yu's increasingly charming profile. Sure enough, the more beautiful a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. In Liu Yu's words, there was not a single true word except that she was selling herself. As for how he found out that Liu Yu was selling herself, this has to mention the powerful sneak shooting ability of their contemporary Tanhua. God knows what it is like to meet his old classmates in the documentary. Chi Wang saw Zhao Chen remain silent, and he became more excited. "Zhao Chen, you don't think I can't do anything to you if you don't speak? I heard that your mother, the old one, is now seriously ill in bed, and the cost of prolonging her life alone is tens of thousands a month. As long as you lick my shoes clean in front of everyone, I can consider paying your medical expenses for 2 months. Isn't this job of licking shoes to make money cleaner than what you licked before?" After Chi Wang finished speaking, everyone laughed. They are no longer the innocent college students of the past, and they naturally understand the hidden meaning of Chi Wang's words. Looking at the leather shoes in front of him, the anger in Zhao Chen's eyes surged uncontrollably. Humiliating him is okay, but humiliating his family, he can't stand it. Zhao Chen wanted to get up, but was kicked down by Chi Wang again. "What's wrong? Do you still think you have dignity? Do you still think you are the rich second generation who can get whatever you want? Recognize your current status. You are just a stray dog on the roadside. It is my greatest favor to let you lick my shoes. Shiying said, spitting at Zhao Chen again. Seeing this, the other classmates who wanted to curry favor with Shiying also followed suit. Spit on Zhao Chen's face, he just wiped the spit on his face and looked at Shiying viciously. Others don't remember, but he still remembers that when Shiying's family business was on the verge of bankruptcy, the other party just slightly revealed the meaning of asking him to help, and he rushed to ask his father to help the other party. Even in the end, their family not only did not get any benefits, but also lost a large amount of working capital, almost covering the bottom of the other party's family business. Unexpectedly, with the passage of time, Shiying not only selectively forgot his previous help, but also humiliated him in public. That's enough. I think this dog has a broken spine and doesn't even dare to bite people. Shiying saw that Zhao Chen didn't react, and immediately lost interest. He hugged Liu Yu, and sat down at the table in the envious eyes of the classmates, but he didn't sit in the main seat. Seeing this, the other classmates also sat down, leaving the main seat vacant. This seat is reserved for Shiying. By the way, why hasn't President Tu come yet? Liu Yu helped Shiying to tidy up his clothes and glanced at the clock on the wall. They agreed to meet at 7 o'clock, but now it's already 7:10. Shiying frowned and looked at Liu Yu when he heard this. President Tu is very busy, and he must have been delayed on the way. We haven't seen each other for so long, so it doesn't matter if we meet for a while. Liu Yu had to shut up in dismay when she saw this. She had long seen that Shiying was still obsessed with Shiying and wanted to make a fuss behind her back, but she didn't expect Shiying to defend Shiying so much. Liu Yu's eyes were filled with jealousy. She and Shiying were obviously equally beautiful, so why did everyone try to please each other? Zhao Chen, the richest man in college, was like this, and now Shiying is still like this. Why did Shiying, a bitch, do this? On the other side, Zhao Chen sat on the ground for a long time, forcibly suppressing his desire to leave. Since he had promised Shiying that he would come to the class reunion, he would never break his promise. Standing up, Zhao Chen pushed open the door of the box and prepared to go to the bathroom to wash his face. He must not be seen by Shiying with his saliva and shoe prints all over his body. However, when Zhao Chen pushed open the door, he still ran into Shiying, who was walking towards him. Shiying looked up and down at Zhao Chen's embarrassed appearance, frowning. Zhao Chen, what did you do just now? Why are you so embarrassed? No. Nothing, I accidentally fell on the way here. Zhao Chen made up an excuse. Shiying didn't think much about it, nodded, and looked at Zhao Chen with a little disdain. Then you should take care of it quickly, you know, I don't like people who are too sloppy. Okay. Zhao Chen lowered his head and didn't dare to look at Shiying, and walked quickly into the bathroom to clean the stains on his body. Holding a bay of clear water, Zhao Chen washed his face, rubbing his hands hard on his angular face. Because he had been pampered since he was a child, he has always been a clean freak. Even if his clothes are slightly dirty, he can't accept it. This is also the reason why his clothes, even if they are very worn out, are still spotless. Back in the private room, the banquet had already started. Shiying sat in the main seat and was complimented by everyone. One by one, her classmates stood up to toast her, but Shiying just took a sip of her drink. She herself didn't drink much, and would only drink 2 glasses when necessary. Obviously, the class reunion was not a necessary time for Shiying. As Shiying finished her drink, Zhao Chen was the only one left at the table who hadn't toasted him. Seeing this, Shiying once again mocked, Zhao Chen, after so many years, don't you have any sense at all? Everyone is toasting to President Tu, why don't you toast? Or do you look down on President Tu? Shiying's words were instantly echoed by his classmates. Why don't you toast to President Tu? The first person you should thank for letting you attend this class reunion is President Tu. Without her approval, do you think you can walk into this private room? Zhao Chen. I advise you not to be ungrateful, and quickly toast to President Tu. Chapter 9. Shiying felt a little uncomfortable with her classmates' words, but she didn't say much, just stared at Zhao Chen. She wanted to see how Zhao Chen would respond. Zhao Chen was embarrassed for 2 seconds, but still raised his glass. Everyone is right, without President Tu's approval, how can I attend the class reunion with my identity? Shiying's expression was instantly dim, and before she raised her glass in response, Zhao Chen drank a full glass of white wine. After the white wine went down her throat, the spiciness went straight down her throat, and her stomach was on fire. For him who had to toast his boss all year round, a glass of white wine was really nothing. When Zhao Chen gradually disappeared at the dinner table, the atmosphere of the party became more and more lively. Du Shiying looked at Zhao Chen, who was drinking alone. Her eyebrows were frowned, but she didn't say much. She didn't understand herself now. On the one hand, she wanted to get closer to Zhao Chen, but on the other hand, she didn't want others to know their relationship. In her own words, she might just want to support Zhao Chen. After 3 rounds of drinking, the atmosphere was pushed to the extreme. At some point, Qi Wang's hand was carelessly resting on the back of Du Xiying's desk and chair. Seeing this, the other classmates cast an ambiguous look. Although Liu Yu was a little jealous, she was very tactful to keep a distance from Qi Wang. She understood her current status. If she messed up Qi Wang's good things, she might be abandoned at any time. Du Xiying also felt Qi Wang's behavior, and resisted the discomfort in her heart. She didn't come forward to stop it. She wanted to see how long Zhao Chen could endure. Finally, under the influence of alcohol, Qi Wang became more and more bold, ready to quietly climb his fingers on Du Xiying's shoulders. Boss Du, from today on, we are partners. From now on, I will go wherever you say. Qi Wang was only an inch away from Du Xiying's shoulder. From now on, our Zhao group belongs to you, Boss Du, Longshan group. Finally, Zhao Chen exploded in silence. Bang! Zhao Chen slammed the table, his momentum suddenly changed, and he stood up and glared at Qi Wang. Qi Wang was shocked by Zhao Chen, and he once again felt the mountain-like oppression of Zhao Chen. But he is no longer the ignorant student of the past, and Zhao Chen is no longer the richest son who was high above. In his eyes, Zhao Chen is now just a dog. Even calling him a dog is considered to help him cross the class. He also had a high momentum and looked at Zhao Chen with contempt. What? The dog is ready to bite people when it is anxious. Du Xiying looked at Zhao Chen and felt her vision blurred. The figure of Zhao Chen in the past gradually overlapped with the present. Zhao Chen is still the same Zhao Chen. Although he has been smoothed by life, he still has his own pride. The disappointment in Du Xiying's eyes disappeared, replaced by the same but completely different joy as before. In the past, her love for Zhao Chen was humble and introverted. Now, she no longer concealed her love for Zhao Chen, and her eyes burst with brilliance. Zhao Chen did not say much, and rushed towards Qi Wang with a fierce momentum. Qi Wang was frightened by Zhao Chen's momentum at first, and then saw the footprints left by himself on Zhao Chen's body, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and he looked at him with the same momentum. Zhao Chen, do you dare to attack me? I'm going to hit you. Zhao Chen's 5 fingers turned into fists and attacked Qi Wang. Qi Wang couldn't dodge in time, and his fist hit him in the face. The atmosphere in the whole audience was silent, and dozens of pairs of eyes trembled violently, looking at Zhao Chen in astonishment. Liu Yu was the first to react, and she screamed, Zhao Chen! Are you crazy? How dare you hit Qi Wang? Zhao Chen, how dare you? Qi Wang covered his nose that was oozing blood, narrowed his eyes and glared at Zhao Chen, his eyes full of confusion and fear. He seemed to have returned to the age when he was in college and was dominated by Zhao Chen. Then, he looked at Zhao Chen with a sinister look, and shouted to the classmates present, whoever helps me beat Zhao Chen today, I will give him 50,000 yuan afterwards, 50,000 yuan per person. For a while, everyone in the box was eager to try. For office workers like them, 50,000 yuan is at least half a year's salary. 50,000 yuan for beating Zhao Chen? Everyone stood up and surrounded Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen, I'm really sorry. We don't want to do anything to you. If you want to blame someone, blame it on the wrong person. I've been annoyed with you for a long time. Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen, you still don't know your position. A dog is a dog after all. How dare you bite people? Zhao Chen was surrounded by the crowd. He looked around with a neither humble nor arrogant look, ready to catch up with Qi Wang and beat him up at any time. Catch the thief first. Qi Wang didn't let him have an easy time, so he naturally wouldn't let him walk out of the box intact. However, at this moment, a cold and fierce shout sounded, What do you want to do? A faint cold wind blew, and everyone present turned back stiffly to look at the place where the sound came from. I saw Du Xiying's face was as cold as frost, and she glanced at them coldly. I ask you, what do you want to do? Liu Yu met Du Xiying's eyes and glared back immediately. Zhao Chen dared to hit Qi Wang, we must make him pay the price today. Yes. He must pay the price. The rest of the people responded one after another. Qi Wang saw that everyone was talking to him, and a hint of ruthlessness flashed across his face, then he turned around and put on a flattering smile. Although the size of his Chi group is comparable to that of Du Xiyin's Longshan, it is currently on a downward slope, with assets seriously shrinking and business getting worse year by year. So this time he must rely on Du Xiyin's Rongxin's merger with Rongda to revitalize the group that is in decline. He no longer blocked his bleeding nose, letting the blood flow freely, with a look of grievance. Mr. Du, you also saw that it was Zhao Chen who started it first. The classmates just couldn't stand Zhao Chen's misbehavior and wanted to vent their anger for me. And Zhao Chen kept bullying you during college, and we are also helping you to get back at him. Liu Yu heard this and immediately understood the meaning of Qi Wang's words. The reason why she was able to be supported by Qi Wang for so many years is that Qi Wang has never looked for other women again. On the one hand, she was in her prime and her face was still resistant to damage. On the other hand, he could read Qi Wang's thoughts from his words. Liu Yu agreed, yes. Mr. Du, Zhao Chen treated you like that in college. We saw it and were angry. Now we can help you vent your anger. Even if the other students were stupid, they knew that they had to stand on the side of the whole world to slander Zhao Chen. Mr. Du, you don't know that Zhao Chen was saying bad things about you behind your back before you came. Although we have just taught him a lesson, we didn't expect him to be so confused and dare to resist. Mr. Du, don't consider the friendship of former classmates anymore. Zhao Chen is not worthy of it at all. Yes. Zhao Chen is a wild dog rotten to the core. If you don't teach him a lesson, he really thinks he is a human being? Du Xiying narrowed her eyes and looked at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen, they said you said bad things about me before I came. Is this true? Chapter 10. No. Zhao Chen said firmly. He had never slandered Du Xiying behind her back. Even in college, he would only give money to Du Xiying in front of her. After staring at Zhao Chen for a long time, Du Xiying believed him 90%. Seeing this, Liu Yu hurriedly said, Mr. Du, don't believe Zhao Chen's lies. We all heard Zhao Chen slander you before you came. If you don't believe it, ask your classmates. The classmates echoed, yes. Mr. Du, Zhao Chen did scold you before you came. We all heard it. Zhao Chen is a liar. Mr. Du, you must not believe him. Qi Wen saw that Zhao Chen was almost suppressed, and turned around and ordered, everyone, let's do it. This time, we must let Zhao Chen, this scum, know the truth. See if he dares to slander Mr. Du again in the future. Hearing this, everyone was eager to try again. They surrounded Zhao Chen, rubbing their hands, ready to take action at any time. Zhao Chen closed his eyes as if he accepted his fate. Being beaten? He was used to it. When his family just went bankrupt, what kind of beatings had he not received? The former rivals of his family, the homeless people who robbed food under the bridge, he was standing on the opposite side of the world at that time. What had he not been forced to experience? He could only choose to accept all the injustices. However, at the same time that Qi Wen gave an order, Du Xiying shouted coldly again outside the crowd, stop. Du Xiying saw Zhao Chen accept his fate and close his eyes, and felt a knot in his heart. Zhao Chen is now an employee of my company. Even if you want to beat the dog, you have to see if I agree or not. What? Everyone present was stunned. What's going on? Zhao Chen is now Mr. Du's employee. Why would Mr. Du allow such scum to enter her company? You know, that's Longshan. How many people are trying to get in, but Zhao Chen is actually an employee of Longshan. Zhao Chen humiliated Mr. Du so much during college, and Mr. Du actually accepted Zhao Chen. Qi Wen was so shocked that he couldn't add anything. Mr. Du, are you telling the truth? Is Zhao Chen really your employee now? It's no wonder that Qi Wen was shocked. Just talking about the fact that Zhao Chen took money to humiliate Du Xiying during college, he couldn't figure out why Du Xiying would accept Zhao Chen. Not to mention that Zhao Chen was not the other party's employee last night. What happened in one day? No doubt, I don't want to say my words a second time. Du Xiying's attitude became colder. Qi Wen wanted to argue, Shiying, how can you? Du Xiying looked at Qi Wen coldly, Qi Wang, you can call my name. Don't think I don't know what you want to do just now. It seems that I need to consider the qualifications of your Qi group for the acquisition of Rongda. Qi Wen thought it was not good and wanted to explain. However, Du Xiying just looked at Zhao Chen, why are you still standing there? Let's go. After that, Du Xiying walked out of the box. Zhao Chen glanced at Du Xiying's back and followed her. leaving only the people in the box with a confused look on their faces. Liu Yu looked at Qi Wang, whose reason was dispersed by anger, and was silent. She used the most coquettish voice to comfort him, that, "Brother Wang, don't be angry, we are still par. Get out." The next second, he was greeted by Qi Wang's slap without any control of strength. Liu Yu was slapped to the ground, but she didn't dare to look up at Qi Wang. She pinched the edge of her skirt hard, her knuckles turned slightly white, gritted her teeth, and left the box without saying a word. The other classmates saw this, said hello, and fled away. For a while, Qi Wang was the only one left in the box. He swept all the tableware on the table to the ground, making a crisp sound of glass breaking. He looked at the seat where Zhao Chen had sat before, and shouted fiercely, "Zhao Chen! You are a wild dog, and you dare to be arrogant. I will kill you sooner or later." Then, he looked at the seat where Du Shiying had sat before. "Stinky bitch, I don't know how many times Zhao Chen slept with you in college, and you still hold yourself high in front of me. When the acquisition is over, let's see how long you can live in Longshan." On the other side, Du Shiying took Zhao Chen all the way down to the underground garage. Du Shiying sat in the main driver's seat without saying a word, and Zhao Chen knew that he had drunk alcohol, so he sat in the co-pilot's seat. The car started, slowly drove out of the hotel, and sped on the night road. The atmosphere in the car was dull. Zhao Chen touched his scratched fingers and glanced at Du Shiying, who was driving seriously. The other party's beautiful profile seemed to be a beauty that was not in the mortal world. Zhao Chen remembered that the last time the other party drove him was when he was in college. At that time, he knew that Du Shiying did not have a driver's license, so he forced the other party to sign up and promised to give him 50,000 after getting the license. But the other party failed the second subject twice in a row. He did not hesitate at all and hired a coach from the most famous driving school in the city to train Du Shiying for a week. It was under this high-intensity training that Du Shiying finally got a driver's license. From then on, in order to make the other party dare to drive and know how to drive, Zhao Chen spent money to pay the other party to drive every time he went out. As the car slowly stopped, Yuzhen number 1 arrived. Du Shiying got out of the car and glanced at Zhao Chen. "Why are you still standing there? Follow me." Zhao Chen struggled violently in his heart, but still followed. Entering the villa, Du Shiying hurried upstairs, and Zhao Chen sat down on the sofa. Soon, Du Shiying came downstairs with a medical kit, and she had changed into pajamas without knowing when. Looking at the pajamas on Du Shiying, Zhao Chen's originally calm heart seemed to be thrown into a boulder, splashing waves. The light pink Hello Kitty pajamas on the other party were exactly the holiday gift he gave to Du Shiying during college. "Your pajamas." Zhao Chen's words were a little hesitant. "I'm used to wearing it, so I haven't changed it." Du Shiying responded lightly. The reason why she didn't change this pajamas is indeed because she is used to wearing it, but the bigger reason is that this pajamas was given to her by Zhao Chen. In Wenhuiyuan, she kept all the gifts Zhao Chen had given her. Every time she returned to her home there, it was as if Zhao Chen was still by her side, and he would touch her head every time he saw her. "Your hand is broken, I'll bandage it for you." Du Shiying opened the medical box. "Stretch out your hand." Zhao Chen stretched out his hand helplessly. If Du Shiying didn't remind him, the wound would probably heal in a while. Du Shiying held Zhao Chen's hand in her palm with a cotton swab covered with iodine. The feeling of holding hands was completely different from a few years ago. Now Zhao Chen's hands became extremely rough, no longer as smooth as they were back then, but still warm. Zhao Chen's heartbeat was violent when his hand was held, and his breathing became heavier unconsciously. Because Du Shiying was applying it seriously, their whole person was inadvertently getting closer to Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen's warm breath hit her forehead, and Du Shiying blushed unconsciously. Chapter 11. How have you been these years? Zhao Chen spoke unconsciously, then realized that he had crossed the line, and his eyes narrowed slightly. "Actually, I was just being polite, and I didn't mean to ask about your private life." Du Shiying didn't answer, threw the used cotton swab into the trash can, and took out a bare band-aid to stick on Zhao Chen's wound. "Okay, that's it. It's not easy to get a taxi so late, you should stay here tonight, and you can take me to work tomorrow," Du Shiying said, picking up the medicine box and going upstairs. Zhao Chen looked at the other person's back with a lonely expression. The other person had already walked out, why should he still live in the past? Sighing secretly, Zhao Chen went back to the room to wash up. As soon as Du Shiying returned to the room, she took a deep breath, then jumped into the big bed, and rolled around on the bed. At some point, her cheeks flushed, and she whispered softly, "Silly, how can I live well without you?" The next morning, Zhao Chen was waiting in the living room. After the turmoil of last night, he now simply regarded being Du Shiying's secretary as his job. Seeing that it was almost 9 o'clock, and there was still no movement upstairs, Zhao Chen couldn't help but sigh about the life of the president. Sure enough, the person who makes the rules is not bound by the rules. Du Shiying required employees to go to work before 9 o'clock, but she didn't even get up. Evil capitalist. Leave happiness to yourself and pain to others. It was not until nearly 11 o'clock in the morning that the sound of the door opening came from the second floor. Du Shiying went downstairs in a daze. Her hair was messy, and the whole person yawned as if she hadn't woken up. Even so, she didn't look sloppy, but a little cute. Du Shiying went downstairs with lifeless eyes, turned on the TV by herself, and completely ignored Zhao Chen sitting on the sofa. It was not until she came to her senses that she found that Zhao Chen was staring at her. "R!" Du Shiying screamed and ran upstairs. "It's over. It's over. My image. It's all collapsed." Du Shiying was so anxious that she turned around in the room and couldn't find an excuse to explain. In the end, she chose to forget herself. At 11:30, Du Shiying's figure appeared at the stairs on time. At this time, she was still wearing a professional suit, but this time she was not wearing an OL suit, but a light grey suit with a sense of design. The slightly wide-legged split trousers, paired with silver-white high heels, gave off a capable but charming beauty. "I've been a little tired lately. I didn't expect to sleep until now. Sorry to have kept you waiting for so long." Du Shiying threw the key to Zhao Chen. "Go and drive the car first. I still have some things to take." Zhao Chen nodded and left tacitly. As for why it was tacitly, this has to mention the pink underwear that Du Shiying had just dropped on the sofa when she went downstairs. "It's over. Zhao Chen doesn't think I'm a very casual woman, does he?" Du Shiying picked up the underwear and threw it back on the sofa angrily. "It's all Wu Shashu's fault. Why did she design the underwear so tight? I want to take it off as soon as I wake up." Du Shiying arrived late when Zhao Chen parked the car at the door of the villa. "Let's go to the company first." Du Shiying got in the car and told him to touch up her makeup in front of the mirror. Zhao Chen agreed, and the car arrived at the company soon. Chapter 12. After 2 full meals in the company, Zhao Chen asked for leave from Du Shiying and went straight to the hospital. Today is the day to pay for his mother's medical expenses. Chen Ku only paid him 1 month's salary. In addition to the salary that should be paid this month, the other party has withheld his salary for 3 months. Is this to control me? Damn it. I must find a way to break the deadlock. He went to the hospital to pay their hospital fees first, and stayed with his comatose mother for a while before leaving the hospital. Now that his mother is seriously ill, his father, who was once a business tycoon, has also put down his back and moved bricks at the construction site. The originally warm family is now apart. After leaving the hospital, Zhao Chen received a call from Du Shiying, who asked him to go home first, because there were some things in the company that required overtime until very late. On their way home, Zhao Chen felt that if he went home now and only left the boss to work overtime in the company, then he seemed to be incompetent as a secretary. Anyway, there was nothing to do at home, and it was too late to find a part-time job now. Forget it, I'd better go to the company to do some voluntary labor. Zhao Chen thought, turned his head, and walked towards the company. The hospital is only 2 or 3 kilometers away from the company. If he walks faster, he can reach the company in half an hour. On the road, there are crowds of people and night snack stalls everywhere, but Zhao Chen ignores them. Now, even a starch sausage worth 3 yuan is not something he can afford. At this time, the lights of Longda Group gradually go out, leaving only an office on the top floor, which is still brightly lit. Du Shiying is sitting on the sofa at this time, with a dangerous gleam in her eyes. Opposite her, a fashionable man is looking at him with a smile on his face. "Shiying, long time no see. I didn't expect you to be so beautiful." The man speaks Chinese with a poor accent, and occasionally mixes a few English words in his words. He is the person Du Shiying is about to marry. Du Shiying crossed her hands and took a defensive posture. "Please call me by my full name, Mr. Wang Lui. I don't think we are familiar enough to call each other that." Wang Lui chuckled, and his face, which was no less popular than any idol, was a pair of bright eyes. He looked at Du Shiying with deep affection in his eyes. Shiying, we are about to get married, is the name still so important? Wang Lui's smile suddenly dimmed. It's just my parents' orders. You don't think I really want to marry you, do you? I haven't had enough fun yet. But if you can accept serving me like those women, I will consider letting you climb into my bed. Wang Lui said, looking outside the glass door. Who are you to the little licker at the door? I didn't expect that you are also quite open in your country. Du Shiying followed Wang Lui's gaze and saw Zhao Chen standing outside the door. At this time, a trace of imperceptible disappointment flashed across Zhao Chen's face, lowered his eyebrows and tilted his head, and a cigarette appeared in his hand without knowing when. Click. The lighter lit up, and the smoke disappeared first, then filled the air. Du Shiying frowned slightly and looked at Zhao Chen, who was smoking outside the door. Mr. Wang, I think you have seen that I already have a partner, and I can't accept your conditions. Du Shiying's eyes moved, and she chose a moderate plan. In this case, I hope you can communicate with your uncle and aunt, and don't embarrass me anymore. Wang Lui laughed, stood up and looked down at Du Shiying. What embarrassment? Don't you think your request is embarrassing me? My parents have already said that if I don't marry you, I will no longer have pocket money, so please don't embarrass me, let's just have a fake marriage. Chapter 13. You should also know my parents' methods. To put it nicely, they will do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. If to put it bluntly, they are not only unscrupulous, but also mad and cruel. Wang Lui said, showing his back, pointing to the hideous wounds on it. See, my father beat me. If you get married one day later, you will be beaten by the family law. As if it was not miserable enough, Wang Lui took out his mobile phone again, opened the balance and shook it in front of Du Shiying. I had 7 figures in my account last month, but this month I can only rely on borrowing money to make ends meet. I was almost so poor that I had to sell my money. So I beg you, even if it is for your business or for my sexual happiness, can you come with me to get a marriage certificate? Even if it is an agreement marriage, I will accept it. Speaking of deep feelings, Wang Lui even squeezed out 2 tears, hanging in the corners of his eyes, looking pitiful. Du Shiying's eyes were full of entanglement. After hesitating for a while, she nodded. It's okay to get the certificate, but the rest? I'll try my best to convince them of the rest. Well, just say that I have too many wild flowers outside. If I get married, my house will collapse. The two quickly reached a cooperation, and Wang Lui got up and left the office. Before leaving, he greeted Zhao Chen very familiarly. Come on, little spare tire, I'm rooting for you. Spare tire? Zhao Chen looked black and watched him leave. He probably can't even be considered a spare tire now, at most a jack used to replace the spare tire. After Wang Lui left, Du Shiying said with an evasive look, Zhao Chen, why are you here? Aren't you passing by the company and want to make use of the surplus value? Zhao Chen said, putting out the cigarette butt. Du Shiying didn't like him smoking, but that was only before. Now it seems changed. Du Shiying also noticed Zhao Chen's little thoughts. She struggled with her eyes, but she didn't explain to Zhao Chen in the end. She just said lightly, send me home, I'm a little tired. After sending Du Shiying back, Zhao Chen didn't stay overnight. On the one hand, it was because he really needed to change his clothes. If he didn't change them, they would go bad. On the other hand, he felt that staying in the cramped rental house was more suitable for a sore-rat like himself. Lying on the cold bed like a coffin lid, Zhao Chen took out his mobile phone. There were several unread messages on it, all from one person. Jiang Fan, is Lao Zhao asleep? I called a few girls to drink tonight. Are you coming? Jiang Fan, Lao Zhao. Are you stupid from working? There are really girls, all of them are very beautiful. Jiang Fan, okay, I'll be honest. These girls are really top-notch. I can't get them. I need you to come. Jiang Fan, brother Zhao. I beg you. Looking at the crazy pop-up window, Zhao Chen couldn't help but laugh. Jiang Fan was his college roommate and the only classmate who was close to him in college, except Du Shiying. After graduation, his family fell into poverty. Jiang Fan not only did not despise him like others, but when his mother was seriously ill and hospitalized and could not pay the medical expenses, he resolutely made a decision to lie in bed for half a month, steal his parents' passbook to pay his mother. Although the starting point was good, the result was not satisfactory. Jiang Fan, who stole the passbook, was caught on the spot by his parents and hung up and beaten for a day and a night. But when Jiang's father and mother knew what Zhao Chen had experienced, they still gave the passbook to Jiang Fan and asked him to pass it to Zhao Chen. So when Jiang Fan gave the passbook to Zhao Chen the next day, Zhao Chen saw Jiang Fan limping. But if it was just like this, Jiang Fan would not have to lie in bed for half a month. So he had more outrageous operations next. Chapter 14. After Zhao Chen paid the medical bills, there was still 500 left in his passbook. Seeing that there was only 500 left, Jiang Fan simply went to the bank to withdraw the 500 and embezzled it. As a result, when he entered the footbath city with 500 yuan in his pocket, ordered a 499 set meal, and hugged the waitress into the private room, he met Xiang's father, who was repairing the air conditioner. The result of the matter can be imagined. Later, according to the waitress's oral account, Jiang's father was holding a wrench in his hand at that time. "No, it's boring. I have long since given up the world," Zhao Chen replied to Jiang Fan. Seeing Zhao Chen's reply, the other end immediately called, "Brother Zhao, please, I really like that girl too much. I can't get her without you as my wingman." Zhao Chen still refused. "No, I'm tired enough after working all day, and I have to work for you. What do I want? 50. No. 100. No. Forget it, I'd better go home." Jiang Fan gave up raising the price. Zhao Chen gritted his teeth. 100 is 100, you can only buy me for 2 hours. It's a deal. The transaction between the two was reached in this back and forth. The night was already deep, and Zhao Chen finally arrived at the door of Menghai Bar on his minions. At this time, there were countless minions parked at the door of Menghai. Zhao Chen couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough. Riding a bicycle to the bar, save when you should save and spend when you should spend. Under the eyes of the security guard, Zhao Chen parked the shared bicycle and confirmed the return of the bicycle on his mobile phone. Zhao Chen walked into the bar only after confirming twice that the car was really parked. The bar was noisy. Zhao Chen was a little uncomfortable after not being in a bar for several years. Jiang Fan was sitting in the corner. When he saw Zhao Chen coming, he immediately waved to him, "Old Zhao. Here." Zhao Chen walked over and found that there was a row of beauties of all kinds sitting in the booth. Even the most ordinary ones could give him 80 points. He looked at Jiang Fan with surprise in his eyes. "You kid really didn't lie to me." Jiang Fan looked proud. "Don't you see my current strength?" he said, showing a small piece of work in his hand. Since the passbook incident, Jiang Fan seemed to have opened his mind and started a small business from setting up a street stall. He dared to ask for 1,000 for the goods that cost $1. It was precisely because of this boldness that Jiang Fan quickly accumulated the first batch of entrepreneurial funds. After 2 consecutive entrepreneurial failures, he finally found his own track foot massage. When a man who is keen on foot washing opens a footbath city, the advantages of the surrounding footbath shops will all be integrated by him. From a small shop that can only accommodate a few people at the beginning to now, Jiang Fan's footbath shop can already call technician number 28. If Zhao Chen guessed correctly, these girls in the booth should be the broken sisters in Jiang Fan's shop. No wonder they are so beautiful. As Zhao Chen sat down, the atmosphere in the booth gradually became lively, and everyone toasted and started playing small games. But soon, Zhao Chen felt uncomfortable all over. He always felt that someone was staring at him. After a rough glance, he did not find the source of that gaze, so he could only continue to play the game. However, just as he tore the tissue in his sister's mouth with his mouth, he suddenly looked up and met Shiying's cold eyes. Chapter 15. So you left in such a hurry just to come to the bar. In the VIP booth on the second floor, Shiying crossed her legs, her eyes were cold, and her eyes twitched slightly. "I'm working." Opposite her, Zhao Chen looked ugly and at a loss. Suddenly, he looked up as if he remembered something. "Aren't you also in the bar?" Shiying frowned slightly. "I have something to do." Zhao Chen looked at the booth filled with male models, and a trace of sarcasm flashed in his eyes. It would be strange if there was nothing to do with so many male models. "I still have work to do, and I can't let the guests wait too long." Zhao Chen took 2 steps back and prepared to go downstairs. Jiang Fan had received 100 yuan, and it was immoral to stand him up at this time. "How much do you charge per hour?" "I'll pay double." Shiying narrowed her eyes and glanced at the male models present as if inadvertently. The meaning in her eyes was very obvious. She thought Zhao Chen's job was to be a male model. Zhao Chen hesitated again and still did not intend to stay. "It's not a matter of money. That's because there are too many women down there. Du Shiying's words were full of jealousy. If you want, I can also order a few for you. It's not a matter of how many women there are. Zhao Chen wanted to explain, but found that the more he explained, the worse it got. So you just like to tear tissues? Du Shiying said, pulling out a tissue from the table. If you want to play, I can play with you. If there is anything else you are not satisfied with, you can mention it. Anyway, you must stay upstairs tonight. Zhao Chen had no choice but to stay on the second floor and send a message to Jiang Fan. When Jiang Fan heard that it was Du Shiying, he immediately asked Zhao Chen to die on the second floor, and never implicate innocent people. The atmosphere in the VIP booth was extremely awkward, and everyone was silent. Jiang Nan glanced at the male model in the booth, thinking that these people had no professionalism. The boss was sitting opposite, but they were all playing with their phones. A few minutes later, a bearded man with a happy face walked into the booth. Du Shiying stood up and hugged him warmly. Boss Xiao, you've made me wait so hard. Jimei. It's all my fault, that dead man at home. He suspected that I had a mistress outside and insisted that I take out the chat records to show him. Look, he looked through my phone before letting me go out. As soon as the man called Boss Xiao opened his mouth, Zhao Chen understood everything. It felt like these male models were not ordered by Du Shiying for herself, but for Boss Xiao. After their hug, Du Shiying made way. Boss Xiao, this is Zhao Chen, my new secretary. Zhao Chen, this is Boss Xiao Ruhai, our Longxin's largest partner, the boss of Qianqi Group. When Xiao Ruhai saw Zhao Chen, his eyes were slightly shining, and he suddenly felt that male models were not attractive. Secretary Zhao, right? Let's add each other's contact information so that we can communicate about work matters in the future. Xiao Ruhai took out 2 mobile phones very skillfully, opened the WeChat QR code of the spare phone, handed it to Zhao Chen, and looked at Du Shiying. My previous secretary has been taking leave to go to the hospital frequently recently. Shiying, can you lend me Secretary Zhao for a few days? It depends on whether Zhao Chen is willing. Du Shiying's eyes were full of smiles, and she threw their bowl to Zhao Chen. Hearing this, Zhao Chen felt a chill in his heart. As expected, you can't mess with women, and she will take revenge on the spot if there is a grudge. Zhao Chen immediately refused. Thank you for Mr. Xiao's kindness, I still like the working environment of Longxin. But Du Shiying's half-smiley voice continued to ring in his ears. It's okay, Zhao Chen, you can still work in Longxin when you go to Mr. Xiao's place. You can work in Longxin during the day and Qianqi at night. It doesn't affect it. It affects it. Zhao Chen said seriously, I will never take 2 jobs at the same time. That's draining my life. Chapter 16. So, you continue, I want to go home and sleep. Zhao Chen said, and fled immediately. He was really afraid that if he stayed, his innocence would be lost. Passing by Jiang Fan, Zhao Chen chose to ignore him. Who told him not to save him just now? All the way home, Zhao Chen locked the door of the rental house twice in a row. He must be prepared to prevent gays. Who knows if the other party will break in late at night and do something wrong to him. Turn on the silent mode of the phone. Zhao Chen slept until the next morning. After eating a steamed bun with boiled water, Zhao Chen went to work at the company. Today, no one assigned him any work, so he was happy to be idle and played on the computer at the company all morning. It was almost time for lunch, and when the second hand was half a circle away from pointing to 12 o'clock, Zhao Chen was ready to rush to the company cafeteria. But at this moment, the door of Du Shiying's office was pushed open. Zhao Chen, come in for a moment. Fuck. Zhao Chen cursed inwardly and walked into the office reluctantly. If you want me to drink coffee, make it for me. Du Shiying knocked on the table and looked at the coffee machine in the corner. Zhao Chen started to make coffee quickly. Mr. Du, do you want milk? Add. Du Shiying didn't even raise her head and continued to type on the keyboard. Zhao Chen brewed a cup of latte according to the ratio of 1 to 3 and placed it in front of Du Shiying. Mr. Du, the coffee is ready, is there anything else? Du Shiying picked up the coffee and took a sip. Too sweet, no, pour it out and brew it again. Zhao Chen took a deep breath and endured the hunger in his stomach and brewed another cup, this time with a ratio of 1 to 2. Du Shiying just took a sip again. Too bitter, no. Zhao Chen tried all the ratios afterwards, and Du Shiying either said it was too bitter or too sweet, and none of them satisfied her. Zhao Chen also slowly realized that this woman didn't think the coffee was not good. It was clearly because she didn't have time to eat and didn't want him to go. In the end, Zhao Chen chose to give up and put the coffee he had just taken out and was about to pour out in front of Du Shiying. Du Shiying took a sip this time, and seeing that it was already 1 o'clock, she smiled. It's okay this time, go eat. Zhao Chen also noticed the time. The company cafeteria closed at 1 o'clock, and he was eating wool. Zhao Chen spent the whole afternoon hungry without getting a meal. In the evening, Du Shiying still didn't let him go. The office door was pushed open, and Du Shiying's voice came out. Zhao Chen, there is a banquet tonight, you go to Secretary Wang to get a set of clothes, and accompany me tonight. Zhao Chen completely accepted his fate, refused to accept Jiang Fan's 200 transfer on his mobile phone, and went to Secretary Wang's workstation. Secretary Wang was carrying a small bag, smiling, completely different from the first time Zhao Chen saw her, and seemed to have less office flavor. Zhao Chen, this is the suit that President Du asked me to prepare last night. Go and see if it fits you. It's still time to change now. Zhao Chen changed into the suit and looked at himself in the mirror. He finally understood why Secretary Wang's work smell disappeared. Her feelings were all transferred to him. Du Shiying walked out of the office, looked at Zhao Chen and nodded imperceptibly. Go down and drive, the dinner is about to start. Chapter 17. Good. Zhao Chen was dejected and lost all strength to resist. There was no conversation along their way until the two arrived at the banquet hall. At the banquet, many people saw Du Shiying coming and came forward to greet her. Du Shiying responded with a smile, and glanced at Zhao Chen inadvertently. Find a place to sit by yourself, and remember not to drink. After receiving the order, Zhao Chen's eyes lit up, and he was finally free. He found a corner and ate as much as he could, finishing off the buffet at the banquet. But just as he was enjoying his meal, Jiang appeared in front of him. Zhao Chen, why is it you again? How did you get into a banquet of this level? Being interrupted while eating, Zhao Chen glanced at the other person, too lazy to reply, and continued eating. Being ignored by Zhao Chen, Jiang looked sinister. He stopped a passing waiter and pointed at Zhao Chen. I suspect this guy sneaked in. Get him out now. Upon hearing this, the waiter looked Zhao Chen up and down. He found that Zhao Chen was wearing the latest high-end suit from Spapser, and there was a struggle on his face. On one side is the chairman of the Qi group, and on the other side is a guest who can afford to wear Spapser. He thought it would be better for him not to get involved. The waiter smiled and said, Mr. Qi, I think it must be a misunderstanding. Please wait a moment, I will ask the manager to come and check it out. Soon, the banquet manager Jiang Dacheng hurried over after receiving the report from the waiter. He would never dare to slack off for Qi Wang, a big customer. Jiang Dacheng arrived and looked at Qi Wang flatteringly. Mr. Qi, is there anything I can help you with? Qi Wang pointed at Zhao Chen who was still eating and drinking and said, kick this guy out. He doesn't deserve to be here. Upon hearing this, the manager looked at Zhao Chen with his eyes fixed. The more he looked at the man in front of him, the more familiar he looked. He felt like he had seen him somewhere before. Does he look familiar? Qi Wang patted the manager on the shoulder. His name is Zhao Chen, can you remember him? Zhao Chen. Jiang Dacheng searched for the family with the surname Zhao in his mind. In the whole Jiangcheng, there seems to be only one family with the surname Zhao. Jiang Dacheng was surprised. He is the son of the richest Zhao family. No. He is the former richest man. That's right. Can we kick him out? With his status, it's impossible for him to get an invitation to the banquet. Qi Wang pointed at Zhao Chen with a sneer. As the hotel manager, Jiang Dacheng naturally understood the meaning of Qi Wang's words. Before the Zhao family fell into poverty, they had been at odds with the Dadong group, the organizer of this banquet. After the Zhao family fell into poverty, the gap in status made it even more impossible for Zhao Chen to receive an invitation. Mr. Zhao, please go by yourself and save some face for everyone. Jiang Dacheng pointed to the door, signaling Zhao Chen to leave. Zhao Chen still had an indifferent attitude, shook his head and prepared to leave. Anyway, he was full, so instead of staying at the banquet and being targeted by his father's former rival, it would be better to slip away. At least I can have a cigarette outside the door. Having made up his mind, Zhao Chen walked towards the door of the banquet hall under Qi Wang's mocking gaze. However, at the same time, Du Shiying's cold voice sounded, Zhao Chen, where are you going? Zhao Chen looked back and replied indifferently, I'm full and want to go out for a walk. No. You are not allowed to go anywhere without my order. Du Shiying said, pointing to where he was originally sitting, you sit here tonight, no matter what happens, you are not allowed to leave. Chapter 18. Did you hear that? Okay. Zhao Chen replied weakly and put the cigarette box he was about to take out into his pocket. Du Shiying turned to look at Qi Wang, her tone even colder. Qi Wang, I've already told you once, Zhao Chen is my employee, why do you keep provoking me? Qi Wang, contrary to his usual behavior, stopped flattering Du Shiying and spoke in a restrained tone, provocation. I was just making a reasonable guess. Who would have known that such a poor stray dog could find its master? Especially you, Du Shiying, you don't think I'm afraid of you, do you? Du Shiying looked at Qi Wang and had some guesses in her mind. Qi Wang looked her up and down and snorted coldly, humph. Du Shiying, I was just nice to you because I thought you were pretty, but if you think you can control me like this, then you underestimate me too much. Yesterday, our Qi group has reached a cooperation agreement with Datong. As for the acquisition of Rongda, I will not participate. Qi Wang's words confirmed Du Shiying's inner guess, and her eyes couldn't help but freeze. Judging from Chase's small moves in the market in recent days, the other party also wants to compete with him for the acquisition of Rongda. This time she came to attend the banquet hosted by Chase in order to reach a cooperation with the other party. As long as the other party gave up this idea, she could give up some of the interests. But Qi Wang's words made her realize that this cooperation was most likely to fail. At the same time, the manager had also called Datong Group's general manager Wu Sudong, who looked at Qi Wang and Du Shiying who were confronting each other and walked forward with a smile. Boss Du. Boss Qi. There's nothing to argue about over such a small matter. Wu Sudong said, glancing at Zhao Chen imperceptibly. Today is our Datong Group's banquet, everyone please give me some face. Du Shiying nodded, of course I will give Mr. Wu face. Okay. Wu Sudong smiled heartily, and suddenly changed the subject, pointing to Zhao Chen, since you've given me face, then let this Zhao family member get out. Du Shiying struggled internally, but for the sake of the company's interests, she sighed and said, Zhao Chen, wait for me at the door. Zhao Chen was confused. He had just come back and sat down, and now he was asked to leave. With a light sigh, Zhao Chen turned and left. He had long been accustomed to these ridicules and humiliations. After all, he would get a piece of meat out of his mouth after being scolded. After leaving the hotel, Zhao Chen received a message from Du Shiying, who asked him to walk around the area and transferred 1,000 yuan to him. After receiving the money, Zhao Chen's gloomy mood disappeared. If he could get 1,000 just by being scolded, he would wish to be scolded every day. With the money, Zhao Chen directly transferred it to his father. 1,000 yuan meant his father would have to move fewer bricks. When the banquet ended, Du Shiying staggered out of the hotel. It was obvious that she had been forced to drink a lot of alcohol. Seeing Zhao Chen, Du Shiying threw herself into his arms, whispering warmly in Zhao Chen's ears, Zhao Chen, I'm really sorry about what happened today. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. Zhao Chen's eyes flickered, and he was dazed for a moment. Then, Du Shiying started crying. Zhao Chen was anxious but didn't know where to start. The two of them stood hugging each other at the entrance of the hotel. Qi Wen walked out of the hotel and was stunned when he saw this scene. When Du Shiying had cried enough, Zhao Chen sent her home. Du Shiying reeked of alcohol and started taking off her clothes uncontrollably after returning home. Ripped clothes. Ripped pants. Ripped underwear. Listening to the sweet cries coming from the room, the scene was so beautiful that Zhao Chen didn't dare to look at it. Chapter 19. The next morning, Zhao Chen arrived at the company. As soon as he sat down at his workstation, Secretary Wen came over in a hurry. Zhao Chen, President to ask you to go find her as soon as you arrive at the company. Zhao Chen was in despair, and a new torture seemed to be about to begin. Pushing open the door of Du Shiying's office, Zhao Chen saw that the other party's face was not very good, and spoke carefully, Boss Du, do you have any instructions for me? Du Shiying slammed the document in her hand onto the table. Zhao Chen, why did you strip me naked last night? Zhao Chen trembled all over and immediately ran to close the office door. The moment he closed the door, he vaguely heard the violent discussions outside the office. It's over. My reputation. Du Shiying seemed to realize something, and a blush crept up her cheeks. Then she looked at Zhao Chen fiercely, you'd better treat me truthfully. Did you do those things to me last night? What's the matter? Zhao Chenju was clueless. Du Shiying's face became increasingly red with shame. It's something between a man and a woman. No, Zhao Chen denied, "After I sent you home last night, you took off your clothes by yourself. I have the video as evidence." This is exactly what Zhao Chen was guarding against. He placed the video recorded last night in front of Du Shiying. After watching the video, Du Shiying finally felt relieved and her face returned to its cold state. "Okay. That's good, you can go out now." Zhao Chen, the old man in the subway frowns. Jpg. After leaving the office, Secretary Wen stood in front of Zhao Chen's desk holding a document and said, "This afternoon, President Du will be receiving a foreign partner. Please help him book a restaurant. Also, this is the customer information, you can use it as a reference." The document was thrown on Zhao Chen's desk. Zhao Chen opened the file. Name, John. Age, 33. Hobbies, Kung Fu, Opera. Flavor, unknown. Brief introduction: manager of Amazon Asia, has lived in the United States for many years. He really is a foreigner. We have to arrange a good meal for him. After reading the document, Zhao Chen had an idea in his mind. Since the other party is a foreigner and has finally come to country Xia, it would be too cliché to arrange Western food for him. We must arrange some Xia cuisine for him. As for Kung Fu and opera, this is also easy to arrange. Zhao Chen started to arrange the restaurant until 11 o'clock, when, under Du Shiying's instructions, he drove with Du Shiying to the airport to pick up the foreigner. The airport was crowded, and under Du Shiying's arrangement, Zhao Chen was forced to hold a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a huge pickup sign in the other. The people around who were welcoming the guests at the airport looked at them strangely. A little girl held her mother's hand and said, "Mom, look at that big brother. He actually has flowers in his hand. Is he here to pick up the little bitch?" The little girl's mother looked in the direction of her finger and tapped the little girl on the head. "You can't call her a little bitch, call her a girlfriend or a wife." Listening to the conversation between mother and daughter, Du Shiying tried hard not to laugh. Zhao Chen could no longer hold back his laughter and was rolling on the ground. Chapter 20. But soon, the little girl's words made him stop laughing. The little girl pointed at John, who took the bouquet, and smiled in surprise. "Mom, look, Big Brother's wife is a man." The woman shook her head. "Don't talk nonsense, it could be Big Brother's husband." In the car leaving the airport, Du Shiying and John sat in the back seat and communicated in English. Zhao Chen didn't understand, so he just drove seriously. When they arrived at the reserved location, Du Shiying patted Zhao Chen in confusion. "Zhao Chen, why did you book the restaurant in the mall? Will it be a bit noisy here?" According to Du Shiying's idea, even if Zhao Chen did not book the restaurant in a private club or a high-end restaurant, at least it should be a private place. Why in a shopping mall? She is here to discuss cooperation. "Mr. Du, I decided on the restaurant based on Mr. John's preferences. I guarantee he will be satisfied with this meal." Zhao Chen patted his chest and made a promise when he saw Du Shiying's doubts. Du Shiying nodded doubtfully. "Okay, here we are, take us to the restaurant. Have a nice trip." Zhao Chen led the way in front of the two of them with an inviting look on his face. Finally, under the leadership of Zhao Chen, John and Du Shiying were dragged into Heidilu by two tall receptionists. Du Shiying was confused the whole time and just felt like she was being pushed around. It wasn't until she took the tablet handed over by the waiter that she came to her senses and looked at Zhao Chen angrily. "Is this the restaurant you mentioned?" "No, what do you think, bringing a foreigner to eat hot pot? Zhao Chen, do you want to piss me off to death?" John, who was sitting nearby and looking around, heard what Du Shiying said and spoke in broken Chinese. "Oh Du. To be honest, I quite like the lively environment here. Don't blame this guy." Seeing that John did not show any dissatisfaction, Du Shiying withdrew the look that almost wanted to cut Zhao Chen into pieces. As the dishes were served on the table, Zhao Chen took on the role of seasoning boy. He prepared two sauces for John, one was sesame sauce and the other was hot sauce. When the dishes were served, portions of meat were put into the pot. In an instant, the aroma wafted up, and John showed an unsightly smile on his face. "What kind of food is this? It smells so good." Zhao Chen saw Du Shiying looking at him, so he took out his phone and read the introduction on the browser. "Hot pot is one of the traditional Chinese delicacies. It has always been." John was confused by what he heard, but the aroma made his mouth water. Soon, as the dishes were scooped up, Zhao Chen clapped his hands at the waiter, and a ramen boy came forward. The noodles in the boy's hand were flying, and he drew circles in front of John. John's eyes were full of amazement. "Is this Chinese kung fu?" But this is not the end. The ramen was put into the pot and the face-changing guy came out. John was shocked again. The meal was a great success for both hosts and guests. During the meal, Shiying even mentioned the renewal of the contract. John then took the initiative to propose a renewal of the contract with Shiying, and even took the initiative to reduce the profit margin by 1 percentage point, which shocked Shiying. You know, every time John came to discuss contract renewal, he would either take the opportunity to lower the price or shorten the contract period. Never before have we proactively reduced our profit margins like this time. On their way back, Shiying admired Zhao Chen's profile, put her mouth close to his ear, and said with a hooked lip, "You performed so well this time, how do you want me to reward you?" Zhao Chen was stunned by Shiying's sudden action, and his mind went blank in an instant. "Any request is okay." "Of course." Shiying's eyes became more ambiguous. "Then can you let me go back to work for Manager Chen? I can't stay here for even a moment." Chapter 21. Get lost. Shiying put away her ambiguous expression and pushed Zhao Chen away. "I advise you to give up this idea." Glancing at Shiying, who had suddenly turned as cold as ice, Zhao Chen spat inwardly, "Bar. Bitch, you don't keep your word." After sending Shiying back to the company, Zhao Chen began to slack off for the afternoon. During this time, Secretary Wang seemed to want to say something but hesitated many times. Zhao Chen looked at him strangely but did not say anything. It was not until the end of the get-off workday that Shiying called him into the office again. Looking at Shiying with a small bruise on her neck, Zhao Chen understood instantly and his face turned black. Secretary Wang thought that he had checked into a hotel with Shiying after lunch. "Boss Du, what's the matter that you called me here for?" Zhao Chen was also afraid of Shiying, so every time he wanted to torture him, he had to wait until after get-off work to start. Shiying flipped through the documents in her hand and glanced at Zhao Chen nonchalantly. "My aunt has something going on at home recently, can you help me clean up tonight?" "Rejected, I'm off work." Zhao Chen was thinking about the 200 transfer that Jiang Fan had just initiated. Shiying's tone gradually turned cold. 2,000. Zhao Chen's eyebrows relaxed, and he immediately put on a wry smile, forgetting Jiang Fan. "Okay, when do you think we should start?" "Wait outside while I finish my work." "Yes, sir." Zhao Chen sat back at his workstation and waited until 9 o'clock. During this time, he pretended to pass by Shiying's office inadvertently many times. Hearing the sound of keyboard clacking still filled the air inside, he could only sigh heavily and wait patiently. Until the last time, he put his ear to the door frame and heard a voice from inside, "Penterkill. Hair. Shiying is actually playing games." Boom boom boom. Zhao Chen knocked on the door, and it immediately became quiet. "Come in." Pushing open the door, Shiying was sitting upright in the office, stretching as if she had just finished work. However, the light from the computer reflecting off the mahogany bookcase behind her betrayed her. "Boss Du, are you really busy with work?" Zhao Chen found that he was fooled by this woman again, and a dangerous light flashed in his eyes. Shiying had a blank expression on her face not red and her heart not beating. "Of course, I'm done with my work, I can go now." Having said that, Shiying quickly surrendered, then directly quit the game and turned off the computer. Looking at Shiying, who had destroyed the evidence, Zhao Chen was extremely helpless. "Then let's go." The two of them went down to the underground garage one after the other, and Zhao Chen drove the car over. Out of guilt or simply an itchy itch, Shiying volunteered to drive, and Zhao Chen was happy to have some free time, so he sat in the passenger seat. The atmosphere in the car was subtle. Zhao Chen closed his eyes to rest. Shiying kept glancing at Zhao Chen until bang. There was a sharp feeling of weightlessness, and the next second there was the airbag. Finally, Zhao Chen's head was facing downwards, his body was in severe pain. They had a car accident. Before his consciousness faded, he vaguely saw Shiying's frightened expression and her unstoppable tears. When consciousness returned to his mind, Zhao Chen found himself lying on a hospital bed with a bandage on his hand. Chapter 22. I used force all over my body, but fortunately, only my arm was injured. You're awake. Shiying concealed the tears on her face and looked at Zhao Chen in surprise. Are you okay? Zhao Chen looked Shiying up and down with a look of disgust on his face. The meaning of his words was not literal, but, are you okay? With such a big road, how could you hit a tree? However, Shiying misunderstood. She shook her head, a hint of joy flashing across her face. I'm fine, just a slight concussion. Zhao Chen still had a dark look on his face. Boom boom boom. There was a knock on the door, and then the door of the ward was pushed open. Du's father and mother hurried in. Seeing that Du Shiying was fine, they breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked at Zhao Chen. Their eyebrows unconsciously frowned. Mother Du pointed at Zhao Chen with a slightly cold expression and asked Du Shiying, "Why is he here?" Du Shiying's eyes struggled as she answered truthfully, "He is my secretary now." Secretary. Mother Du's eyes flashed with sarcasm. "I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. The once high and mighty Master Zhao has now become a secretary." Listening to what Du's mother said, Zhao Chen's face flashed with embarrassment. Just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by Du's mother. "Du Shiying, please go out first. I want to talk to Zhao Chen. Is it finally coming?" A barely perceptible hint of joy flashed across Zhao Chen's face. According to the usual routine of TV dramas, Du's mother will throw a bank card in his face and say condescendingly, "There is 5 million in the card, leave my daughter." 5 million. It is enough to pay for all the treatment expenses of my mother, and even the extra money can make my parents live a worry-free life for the rest of their lives. For this money, he is willing to leave Du Shiying. However, in reality, not so many good things happen. Du Shiying struggled for a while but couldn't get over it with her mother. Finally, under the persuasion of her father, she looked at Zhao Chen and reluctantly left the ward. She understood what Du's mother was going to say next, but she was powerless to do anything. After Du's father and Du Shiying left, Zhao Chen looked at the middle-aged woman in front of him. She was the one who had urged Du Shiying to get married in her office before, Du Shiying's mother, Zhang Chuanxia. The first time Zhao Chen met Zhang Chuanxia was when Du Shiying was in college. At that time, Zhang Chuanxia was just a supermarket shopping guide, and Du Shiying's father Du Mingfa was a taxi driver working the night shift. Because Du Mingfa worked shifts all year round and had an extremely irregular work and rest schedule, coupled with the physical illnesses caused by years of driving a taxi, all his illnesses broke out overnight. He was hospitalized and lost his ability to work. In order to earn enough money for medical expenses, Zhang Chuanxia changed her relaxed 8-hour work schedule from 9 to 5 to a 16-hour work schedule from 5 to 9. In addition to working as a shopping guide in the supermarket, she would work part-time as a helper in the restaurant kitchen before dawn and after get off work every day. Even though Zhao Chen started to give Du Shiying money at that time, Du Shiying still transferred the money back home. Ms. Zhang Chuanxia, who was always prepared for danger, was always like this. Finally, after get off work at the hot pot restaurant one day, she fell headfirst into the flower garden. Fortunately, there were pedestrians passing by at the time, and she was sent to the hospital for treatment in time, which saved her life. However, the high cost of medical treatment made this woman extremely devastated. For the past 2 years, she had worked very hard to save 100,000 yuan, but now a serious illness would cost her 800,000 yuan. Then, the little licker, Zhao Chen appeared, severely humiliated Du Shiying in front of Zhang Chuanxia, and forced Du Shiying to be her girlfriend. Back in the ward, Zhang Chuanxia's eyes were full of sarcasm, and a sneer unconsciously appeared at the corners of her mouth. She just stared at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen felt a chill down his spine. He knew this was the foreplay of the coming storm. As expected, after Zhang Chuanxia had prepared herself for the moment, the mockery in her eyes turned into resentment. "Zhao Chen, how dare you approach Du Shiying? Don't you know she's getting married this weekend?" Chapter 23. Of course, you have no way of knowing this information at your current level, but I am telling you now that Du Shiying is engaged to the boy from the Wang family. I hope you won't give up on her and become their mistress. Zhang Chuanxia's expression became more and more excited, as if Zhao Chen was really the mistress who destroyed other people's marriages. The anger on her face intensified. "Back then, you used money to humiliate Shiying, and then abandoned her when you had enough of her. Do you know how she survived during that time?" Zhang Chuanxia opened her cell phone, found a picture from the album, and placed it in front of Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen looked intently. Patient name, Du Shiying. Symptoms, severe depression, accompanied by serious suicidal thoughts. Time, November 2, 2018. November 2018? A month after he told the other party that he was tired of playing? Zhao Chen vaguely remembered that he broke up in October 2018, before the National Day holiday. A month later, the other party was diagnosed with severe depression. It was hard for him to imagine how Du Shiying managed to survive that month. Zhang Chuanxia looked at Zhao Chen, suppressed her anger, and said earnestly, I'm telling you all this not to ask for your opinion, but to inform you. I hope you can understand that Du Shiying is no longer the ignorant girl you used to be. I hope you can let her go. As she spoke, tears welled up in Zhang Chuanxia's eyes. Zhao Chen, you can ask for any conditions you want. As long as they can be met, I will try my best to meet them. Zhang Chuanxia wiped away the tears from her eyes, but they did not disappear. Instead, they became more violent. I am begging you. Please let Shiying go. Zhao Chen's face was full of struggle. He sighed heavily and looked at Zhang Chuanxia. Aunt Zhang, I get it. I will stay away from President Du. I hope you can do what you say. Zhang Chuanxia smiled brightly and wiped away all her tears before she left the ward. A minute later, Du Shiying pushed the door open and walked in. Du Mingfa and Zhang Chuanxia had already left. Zhao Chen looked coldly at Du Shiying and said, Boss Du, I want to resign. I will slowly make up the compensation. What? Du Shiying was surprised, and then she said quickly, Zhao Chen, don't listen to my mother's nonsense, she doesn't know the truth at all. I've made up my mind, don't say anything more. Zhao Chen was unmoved. I will move all my things away today. I wish you a happy wedding. I will make up the money for the gift when the time comes. Gritting his teeth, Zhao Chen propped himself up with one hand and limped out of the ward under Du Shiying's grief-stricken eyes. Du Shiying was the only one left in the ward, crying with her face covered. After consulting the nurse about his physical condition, Zhao Chen learned that his arm was only scratched. He breathed a sigh of relief and called Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan, are you still short of male technicians? I quit. On the other side, Jiang Fan was lying in the massage room of his store, enjoying the massage of 1 foot each by 2 female technicians. Hearing what Zhao Chen said, he jumped up from the bed, splashing water all over the technician's face. Under the resentful look of the technician girl, he pointed to the 1,000 yuan in cash on the table, signaling her to take the money and leave. The 2 young technicians looked delighted. Receiving the reward proved that they had passed this month's assessment and their appearance fee could increase by 20% next month. When the technician girl left, Jiang Fan responded with surprise, Brother Zhao, you finally came to your senses. We really only sell our skills and not our bodies. It's a legitimate business. Chapter 24. When do you come? I'll handle the employment formalities for you and guarantee that you'll be an A-level technician as soon as you start working. How about that? Zhao Chen nodded. Don't give me any special treatment, I'd better start from the bottom. It's up to you. How about tonight? Jiang Fan paused, with a lewd expression on his face. Zhao Chenguan knew what Jiang Fan was thinking from the sound of his voice, and refused outright. I'm busy, I may need to recuperate for a day, so it's a good time to learn some techniques. Okay, tell me when you come. Okay. Beep. After hanging up the phone, Zhao Chen stretched his neck twice and walked towards the rental house. He has to pay last month's rent when he goes back today, so he must talk to the landlady to see if she can give him a few days' grace. Boom boom boom. Inside the rental house, Zhao Chen wiped his body with clean water. When he heard a knock on the door, he answered it, put on some clothes casually, and went to open the door. Outside the door, a beautiful middle-aged young woman was leaning against the door frame, with one hand on the wall and the other holding a bunch of house keys. She had a lady's cigarette in her mouth. Her voluptuous figure and her pretty face, though a little weathered, would make people blush and their hearts beat faster even if they just glance at her for a second. Zhao Chen lowered his head and dared not look directly at the other person, and said weakly, Landlady, this month's rent may have to be delayed for a few days. Is this okay with you? A look of surprise flashed across the young woman's face, as if she was very happy that Zhao Chen couldn't pay the rent. It's just right that he can't pay. Young people nowadays just look down on reality. The young woman said as she switched the key to her other hand and gently stroked Zhao Chen's cheek with her free hand. There is an opportunity to avoid detours right in front of you, but you don't know how to cherish it. Do you think young people today are too stupid? Hee hee. Zhao Chen laughed dryly and nodded in response, yes, yes. Young people nowadays are too ignorant. Unexpectedly, the young woman changed the subject, but I think you, my brother, are very sensible about the current situation. Why don't you just obey me? Sister will definitely take good care of you. Forget it, sister. I still want to work harder. Zhao Chen was embarrassed. If you can't hand it in within a week, I will throw all your luggage out. The landlady changed the subject and her expression became more serious. But after she finished saying this, she returned to her previous playful expression and rubbed Zhao Chen's face hard with her fingers. This little face is so tender that water can flow from it. Do you know what I like most about you? The landlady looked at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen shook his head to indicate that he didn't know and didn't want to know. What I like most is not being able to have you. Finally, amid the landlady's bell-like laughter, Zhao Chen shrank into his turtle shell. This is terrible. He must lock his bedroom at night from now on. The next day, Zhao Chen arrived at the Xinfan foot massage parlor opened by Jiang Fan on time in the evening. As soon as you enter the foot massage parlor, two welcoming girls with curvy legs will come forward to greet you. When Zhao Chen saw the two people, he immediately remembered that they were the two twin sisters in the bar booth last time. Chapter 25. Brother Zhao, you are finally here. The two girls smiled when they saw Zhao Chenyang. Their names were Qin Wanxing and Qin Wanyue, although Zhao Chen couldn't tell which one was the elder sister and which one was the younger sister. Here she is. Where's President Chiang? Zhao Chen didn't talk much with the two sisters and went straight to the point. Upstairs. Qin Wan pointed to the entrance to the second floor, and Zhao Chen went upstairs and went straight to Jiang Fan's office. Zhao Chen was also involved in the preparation of the footbath city, so he was very clear about the layout of the footbath city. Going all the way to the second floor, before he even opened the door of Jiang Fan's office, Zhao Chen heard Jiang Fan's voice coming from inside. Truly taking advantage of employees in broad daylight. Zhao Chen muttered and kicked the office door open. He must witness this kind of bad thing with his own eyes before he can severely condemn it. However, the office door was kicked open, and Jiang Fan was lying on the boss chair. Behind him, a female technician who looked at least 200 pounds stood behind him, pinching the back of Jiang Fan's neck with both hands. R. Zhao Chen was surprised and silently closed the office door in the eyes of Jiang Fan asking for help. It turns out that being a boss can withstand strong pressure. After waiting at the door for a long time, the female technician walked out with her suitcase. Before leaving, she glanced at Zhao Chen with a not-so-bright smile on her face. Handsome boy, I'm number 18 Yang Yang. If you want a shoulder massage, you can come to me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Okay, definitely next time. Zhao Chen responded with a dry laugh, then quickly slipped into the office and closed the door. In the office, Jiang Fan was lying half dead on the boss chair, with a half smile on his face, staring at the ceiling and doubting his life. It was not until Zhao Chen knocked on the table that he came back to his senses and looked at Zhao Chen with resentment. Zhao Chen, you are so cruel. Seeing your brother suffer, you have no intention of helping him. Today I will follow you. Jiang Fan was halfway through his words when he was interrupted by Zhao Chen. Don't waste time, it will be time to go to work soon, please show me the massage process. My landlady only gave me 1 week. If I don't collect the rent within 1 week, you know the consequences. Jiang Fan showed an expression of deep disgust on his face, and slapped the table heavily. Damn it. There are such unscrupulous landlords in the world. Zhao Chen, from now on you live in my house and I live in your rental house. I must punish such a sinful landlord. Just forget it. Zhao Chen glanced at Jiang Fan's dark circles under his eyes. Looking at your kidney deficiency, I don't think you'll last until the ambulance arrives. It hurts. It hurts so much. As the Emperor Yu, Jiang Fan shed tears of remorse. It's too late, hurry up, don't waste time. Okay. Jiang Fan took out a grade table from his office drawer. Here are the prices corresponding to the technicians of each grade. Take a look. Zhao Chen took the level table and started looking at it. Among them, the fee for a level D technician is 80 yuan per hour. The C-level technician charges 100 yuan per hour, and so on. To order an A-level technician, it costs 140 yuan per hour. But above Class A, there are also Class S technicians. For example, S-level technicians require at least 200 yuan per hour, and the price will change depending on how popular they are with customers. For example, for the twin sisters, it would cost at least 500 yuan per hour to order a massage from them. Chapter 26. Every month, the massage parlor will assess the technician's skills. The assessment results are divided into 3 levels: downgrade, maintain, and upgrade. As for S-level technicians, they will no longer be downgraded. The assessment only determines the commission ratio for them. After understanding the rules, Zhao Chen looked at Jiang Fan. So I started from the bottom and now I'm a D level technician. Logically speaking, you're not even at level D right now. Jiang Fan pointed to a row of small words at the bottom of the grading table. Employees will not be rated in their first month on the job, and their rating will be determined by the assessment after the first month. What do you mean? Zhao Chen didn't quite understand and looked at Jiang Fan in confusion. Jiang Fan, that's right, you have to finish massaging me first before I can give you a rating. Okay. Zhao Chen showed a sinister smile and rubbed his hands together. Jiang Fan stepped back and sank into the boss chair. You don't need to give me a massage, I'll give you an A-level technician. That won't do. Zhao Chen stepped closer. Half an hour later, Jiang Fan slumped in his boss chair like a dead pig, with no desire to live. Zhao Chen wiped the sweat off his head and rubbed his sore wrists. How is it? My technique, how about I directly make it S-level? Jiang Fan, no. In the end, Zhao Chen still held the title of a level technician and was certified to work. When many male technicians saw Zhao Chen, who was an A-level technician, they showed expressions of confusion, contempt, and disdain. A yellow-haired man with glasses and a pointed face pouted and sneered. We all worked hard to climb up from D-level technicians, so why is he an A-level technician right after he arrives? The muscular man standing next to him nodded in agreement. That's right. Our brother Hong has worked in the footbath city for more than a year, and he makes a profit of nearly 1,000 yuan for the footbath city every day. That's why brother Hong was rated A last month. How can he, a newcomer, do that? Behind the two of them, Hong Chuan had a gloomy expression on his face, and his eyes were full of sinister intent as he looked at Zhao Chen. The words of the yellow-haired Li Fugui and the strong man Jiang Fatsai hit the nail on the head. He worked so hard to contribute so much to the footbath city, but in the end, he was told that a new technician was easily on the same level as him. Hong Chuan pinched the essential oil in his hand, his knuckles turning slightly white. He gave Li Fugui and Jiang Fatsai a look, and the two immediately understood, stood up and walked towards Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen looked at the two men, one tall and one short, coming towards him with a fierce look in his eyes. He didn't seem to have offended these two people before, right? Why did he feel that they were so hostile to him? Shaking his head, Zhao Chen was not going to cause any more trouble. After all, he came here to make money. Instead of wasting time chatting with the other party, he might as well go out and see if there is any rich woman who values him. The share ratio of the footbath city ranges from 70% for D level, 75% for C level, 80% for B level, and 85% for A level. After reaching S level, the share ratio will be as high as over 90%. The specific amount can be negotiated with Jiang Fan. Now that I am a level, I can earn over 100 yuan for each order. If a customer works overtime, I may earn half a month's rent in one night. It can't be said that the money comes quickly. Seeing that Zhao Chen wanted to leave, Li Fugui and Zhang Fatsai obviously did not intend to let him go. Stop. New here. Don't you know the rules of our footbath city? New here, you must bow and greet the old employees when you see them. Don't think that you are lucky and can ignore us old employees just because you got an A level. As long as we unite, the boss can't keep you. Chapter 27. Greetings. Zhao Chen looked confused. Why had he never heard of this rule? And no matter how you look at it, I can't be considered a newcomer. When this footbath city was still under renovation, I was a decoration worker here. Yes. The yellow-haired boy Li Fugui raised his head proudly, waiting for Zhao Chen to bow and greet him. However, Zhao Chen just muttered, "What's the use of this rule?" and turned away. Li Fugui was angry. "Newcomer, have you thought about the consequences of doing this?" "No." Zhao Chen left a sentence and went straight to the first floor. Li Fugui blushed, Zhang Fatsai was overjoyed, and Hong Chuan, who was watching from a distance, sneered and walked into the changing room. Zhao Chen went all the way down to the first floor. At this time, the two sisters of the Qin family were still standing at the door to welcome guests. Since it was only a little after 8 o'clock, there were only a few regular customers coming. They come here because, on the one hand, there are fewer people at this time and they can choose the technician they like. On the other hand, the earlier they come, the longer they can enjoy the service. These are people who are not short of money, and there is nothing more to do in life except enjoyment. Sister Ju, why are you here so early today? Outside the door, a lady in her 30s walked in with a twisted waist and a charming look. Seeing this, the two sisters of the Chen family each took one hand and welcomed the lady in. The lady smiled and looked at the two of them with appreciation, then said cheerfully, "Where's Xiao Hong? Did he come to work today?" "Of course. Sister Ju will take you to find him." The two sisters of the Chen family led the way. When passing by Zhao Chen, the lady suddenly stopped. "Huh?" The lady exclaimed in surprise, looking Zhao Chen up and down, her eyes shining. "Is this handsome boy new? Why haven't I seen him before?" "Yes. He just joined the company today, but has not received any systematic training yet, so he may not meet your requirements, Sister Ju." Qin Wanyue tried to belittle Zhao Chen. She was very familiar with the woman in front of her, Ju Ru. Every time she came here, she didn't intend to get a proper massage. Several times when she passed by their hotel on her way home from get off work, she saw Zhao Ru hugging Hong Chuan and walking in. How could that be? "I think this handsome boy has strength," Zhu Ru said, and stepped forward to pinch Zhao Chen's arm. "Forget it, we don't need Xiao Hong today, let this one." Zhu Ru put her head close to Zhao Chen's work badge and said, "Let Xiao Zhao do the pressing for me. He's an A-level technician, so what can he not do?" Zhu Ru glanced at Zhao Chen ambiguously. "Even if he doesn't know how to press it, I like this handsome boy at first sight." "But Sister Zhao." Qin Wanyue wanted to stop her, but was stopped by her sister Qin Wanxing. Qin Wanxing shook his head and whispered in Qin Wanyue's ear, "Have you forgotten the rules? The customer is God. Zhu Ru has already pointed it out, we can't stop it." Qin Wanyue hesitated again and again, but finally chose to give up. After watching the two of them go upstairs, the two sisters continued to serve as greeters. The footbath city does not have any special invitations for the receptionists, they all come on a rotation basis. This can deepen the customer's impression of the technicians. Once they become familiar with most of the customers, more and more people will naturally order from them. Going up to the second floor, Zhao Chen remembered the technician's clock in process and first took Zhu Ru to an empty room. Then he asked the other party what service she wanted, and then took the card handed to her to the front desk to swipe the card. Chapter 28. All their way down to the first floor, the two sisters of the Qin family saw Zhao Chen and immediately stepped forward to remind him, "Zhao Chen, you must not agree to Sister Ju's request after get off work, otherwise." "What else?" Zhao Chen understood the meaning of the two girls' words and teased them with a smile. "Otherwise, I can't go out with you to drink and have fun." "Hateful." Qin Wanyue hit Zhao Chen's shoulder, her face unconsciously flushed slightly. Qin Wanxing was obviously more serious than her sister. She explained to Zhao Chen, "I just heard that Sister Zhao was a gangster." Zhao Chen's face turned pale, and he couldn't help but shudder. It was so scary, he didn't want to go on duty anymore. A few minutes later, Zhao Chen held a basin of boiling hot water, stood in front of the door, took a deep breath, and pushed open the door. "Xiao Zhao, you've kept me waiting for so long." At some point, Zhu Ru had changed into a bathrobe and was lying on the recliner. She crossed her legs, supported her head with one hand, her eyes were dazed, and her body was covered with snow-white skin that made people's blood boil. Zhao Chen's heart was filled with Buddhist chanting, "Form is emptiness, emptiness is form." Okay, the heart that was originally pounding finally returned to silence. "Sister Ju, let's start now." Zhao Chen lowered his head and nodded. "This is technician number 32, Xiao Zhao is at your service, I hope the boss will be satisfied." Zhu Ru nodded with satisfaction and pointed to her feet, indicating that Zhao Chen could start. Zhao Chen didn't waste any time and started right away. Outside the room, the two Qin sisters looked at each other and saw the disappointment in each other's eyes. For Zhu Ru, making her scream was harder than killing her, so she had a blank expression on her face during every massage. Even Zhang Farzai, that muscular man, can't break this ban. "What are you doing here?" Jiang Fan appeared behind the two girls at some point, with a serious look on his face. He remembered that today it was the Qin sisters' turn to welcome guests. Why were they still on the second floor at this time? "Mr. Jiang, we just brought a guest up to see the technician, and we'll go down now." Qin Wanxing explained and pulled Qin Wanyue away. Looking at the two women running away, Jiang Fan's eyes were full of confusion. Why do these two look like thieves? After muttering a few words, Jiang Fan also put his ear to the door. The next second, his face changed instantly, and their voice coming from inside. Could it be pornography? The more he listened, the more he felt something was wrong, so Jiang Fan simply pushed open the door of the room. He has no control over what these technicians do after get off work, but in the footbath city, this kind of transaction is expressly prohibited by him. Basically, if he catches one, he will go to jail. What are you doing in there? Jiang Fan pushed open the door of the room. The next second, he met two doubtful gazes. Veins bulged on Zhu Ryu's forehead, and she clutched the armrest of the chair tightly, her body completely straight. As for Zhao Chen, he grabbed Zhu Ryu's feet with one hand, and with the other hand, he made a fist with the 5 fingers of his hand, with the ring finger slightly protruding, and drilled into the sole of Zhu Ryu's foot. Did I come at the wrong time? Jiang Fan couldn't hide the embarrassment on his face. Zhu Ryu's eyes were full of requests for help, and her voice was hoarse and pleading, "No. Boss Jiang, you came at the right time." Chapter 29. No, the clock has already rung, so I have to finish. Zhao Chen said, without stopping his movements. Sister Zhu, I'm pressing the acupuncture points on your kidneys. If it hurts, it means you have kidney deficiency. After hearing what Zhao Chen said, Zhu Ryu clenched her teeth and said, I'm not in pain. Jiang Fan looked at the scene in front of him, observed 2 seconds of silence for Zhu Ryu, and closed the door. Behind him, Hong Chuan looked at Zhao Chen, who had taken away his biggest boss, with anger in his eyes. He clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles turned slightly white. He snorted coldly and turned back to the lounge. Soon after, a crackling sound was heard from the lounge. You steal my customers as soon as you come. You steal my customers as soon as you come. Hong Chuan punched the sofa in the lounge, tears welling up in his eyes. This is a stable customer that I have earned after being tortured for a week. How can you, a newcomer, snatch her away on your first day? I don't accept it, I don't accept it. The sofa was dented by Hong Chuan's hammering. Obviously, Hong Chuan mistook the sofa for Zhao Chen. After finally enduring an hour, Zhu Ryu breathed a sigh of relief as she watched Zhao Chen leave. She never imagined that there could be someone more perverted than her in the world. Zhao Chen returned to the lounge and wiped his sweat. He thought to himself that not everyone can earn this much money. After cleaning the tools, Zhao Chen walked into the bathroom in the lounge. This was the suggestion he had specifically given to Jiang Fan. In other footbath centers, there are generally no bathrooms provided for employees. This results in some employees being covered in sweat and having no way to clean themselves after massaging customers, which in turn causes customers to have a lower impression of the footbath city. However, as soon as Zhao Chen entered the bathroom, he embarrassingly discovered a serious problem. It seemed that no one had ever used this bathroom. Even the shower gel has been expired for almost a year and I haven't opened it yet. Zhao Chen used the expired shower gel to quickly wash off the smelly sweat on his body. 2 minutes later, Zhao Chen took out the bath towel he had prepared in advance and wiped the sweat off his body. At the same time, 3 people walked into the lounge one after another. They were Hong Chuan, Li Fugui and Zhang Faizai. They talked about Zhao Chen without any hesitation. Li Fugui's sharp voice was the first to reach Zhao Chen's ears. Brother Hong, how about we deal with Zhao Chen after get off work? Zhang Faizai agreed, yes, Brother Hong, he even dared to snatch your customer, Sister Zhu. Usually, Sister Zhu's massage in our footbath city lasts at least 3 hours, but today she only did it for 1 hour. When you met Sister Zhu just now, she was obviously very unhappy. When you greeted her, she actually asked you not to contact her again. It must be that the new guy didn't serve Sister Zhu well. She doesn't want to come to our footbath city anymore. Pushing the bathroom door open a crack, Zhao Chen saw Hong Chuan's increasingly gloomy face. Hong Chuan kicked fiercely, and the wooden barrel that Zhao Chen had placed on the ground before taking a bath was kicked over, and the clear water in it splashed all over the lounge floor. No. I have to let that new kid know that not everyone can steal my customers. Wait for me to make a phone call, and I'll ask Brother Yu to give this kid a good beating. After Hong Chuan finished speaking, the 3 of them each picked up a wooden barrel and left the lounge. Zhao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. He had just come in to take a shower and forgot to bring his clothes in. Chapter 30. If he was discovered at this most vulnerable moment, his reputation would be ruined for the rest of his life. After staying in the lounge for a while, Zhao Chen tied it up and went downstairs again. It said that the footbath industry was not very friendly to a broken man like him. That night, except for a rich woman named Zhu Ryu, the rest of the people who came for massage were basically middle-aged men. As for the few wealthy ladies there, they had already made appointments with technicians, so Zhao Chen had no chance to help. It was not until 2 o'clock in the morning that the number of customers gradually decreased. The originally noisy footbath city gradually became quiet, and the customers who remained in the footbath city at this point basically ordered overnight service. Of course, overnight service does not mean that the technician will massage the customer all night long, but that the technician can leave when the customer falls asleep. The hourly rate will stop being settled the moment the technician leaves the box, after which the accommodation fee will be deducted. Customers don't have to worry about being overcharged. Newcomer, we finally caught you. Just as Zhao Chen was playing with his mobile phone out of boredom, the trio's playful expressions appeared one after another on the stairs leading to the second floor. Hong Chuan walked in front of the other two and glanced at Zhao Chen with contempt. You caused me to lose an old customer. How are you going to compensate me for this? Seeing this, Li Fugui and Zhang Farzai, who were following behind Hong Chuan, surrounded Zhao Chen. The three of them seemed to be ready to let Zhao Chen go without an explanation. Compensation? Zhao Chen chuckled. Why should I compensate you? Does the customer need your consent if he suddenly wants to change the technician? Hong Chuan stepped forward and grabbed Zhao Chen by the collar, and his foul breath slapped Zhao Chen's nose. In order to protect Sister Ju as a customer, do you know how much effort I have to make in private? As soon as you started working today, Sister Ju ordered you. If you didn't have malicious intentions to steal my customers, how could she know you? Hong Chuan's voice became increasingly sharp. Previously, Ju Ryu would contribute at least 3 hours of money to him almost every day. With his fee of 140 per hour, plus Ju Ryu's occasional tips, he could earn nearly 10,000 yuan from Ju Ryu in a month. And just now, when he sent a message to ask the other party why she asked him not to contact her, he found that he had been blocked by Ju Ryu. When I tried to make a call, all I heard was a dead tone saying the user you are dialing is powered off. Obviously, his phone number has been blocked by the other party. If the footbath city had not had a rule that employees were not allowed to have conflicts inside the city, he would have wanted to go up and beat Zhao Chen up right now. Seeing that he couldn't do anything to Zhao Chen in the footbath city, Hong Chuan sneered and stared at Zhao Chen with hawk-like eyes. Zhao Chen, you'd better not walk on the road at night after get off work. Otherwise, no one can predict what you might run into. Oh. Got it. Zhao Chen still looked indifferent, which made Hong Chuan so angry that he snorted coldly and left. Wait until 3 o'clock. The footbath city stipulates that if you are not on duty at this time, you can go home after get off work. Seeing that there was indeed no one there, Zhao Chen packed up his things and left the footbath city. Outside the footbath city is a bathing street. Even at this point, the lights are still bright. Many pedestrians on the road have smiling faces as they walk out of one bathing city after another. Zhao Chen couldn't help but sigh as he watched the grand occasion. Back then, I was one of them. After turning several corners on the street, Zhao Chen soon noticed that there were two figures following him. What a coincidence, we're both on the same way. Zhao Chen muttered to himself without thinking much about it and continued to take the shortcut home. Chapter 31. Boy, are you the new technician of Shinfan Bath City? In the dark alley, Zhao Chen's face was covered in darkness. There was a man standing in front and behind him, blocking him from front and back. Zhao Chen felt that the voice of the person sounded familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere before, and his eyes narrowed slightly. After a while, he finally remembered the other person's identity and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Zhao Chen teased, not panicking, what's wrong? Working at this time will cost extra. The man in front of him seemed to be irritated, and his voice was slightly deep. It's you, second brother. Do it. Okay, big brother. A simple and honest voice sounded from behind Zhao Chen, and the smile on Zhao Chen's face became more and more intense. A car sped past the entrance of the alley, and its lights flashed past, making Zhao Chen's profile flicker. The man called Brother Yu was stunned when he saw this. The second brother, who was standing behind Zhao Chen, so that Brother Yu did not move, scratched his head in confusion, and hesitated for a moment whether to take action. My eldest brother's brain is occupied and his brain and body are disconnected. The second brother muttered something and raised the stick in his hand. Since the eldest brother didn't take action, it was a good opportunity for him to show off himself. He had to teach this kid in front of him, whom he didn't know, a lesson. You little jerk, take this stick from your uncle. The second brother swung the wooden stick down heavily, and the sound of it breaking through the air was heard. The next moment, the solid feeling of touching the flesh made the second brother happy. He hit the target. However, when the second brother opened his eyes, he was at a loss as to what to do when his elder brother screamed, "Big! Big brother!" The second brother hurriedly dropped the stick and rushed forward to support brother Yu, who was shot in the head. Fortunately, brother Yu only stumbled 2 steps, and then he knelt on the ground with a plop. "Brother Zhao, I finally found you. Where have you been all these years? It's been so hard for us brothers to find you." When the second brother heard the words, "Brother Zhao," he turned around in a hurry. The next second, seeing Zhao Chen's thin face, the second man, who was 1.9 meters tall and weighed over 250 pounds, also knelt down with a plop. "Brother Zhao, we all thought you were dead." With his legs held by 2 tearful men, Zhao Chen felt a little helpless. These days, there are acquaintances everywhere. He wanted to push the 2 away, but they didn't move at all. Zhao Chen rewarded them with a slap on the head and said in a cold tone, "All right, get up." Upon hearing this, the 2 looked at each other, saw the fear in each other's eyes, and hurriedly stood up. "Brother Zhao, where have you been all these years? We haven't been able to find you since that incident." Brother Yu wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and smiled awkwardly. If anyone saw Brother Yu's appearance at this moment, they would think they were dazzled. In the footpath street, who doesn't he know the name of Brother Yu Wenlong? Throughout the street, whenever there is a customer who runs away without paying, the owner of the footbath center will call the 2 brothers to take action. The 2 brothers do not charge for their services and simply punish evil and encourage good. Therefore, all the bosses and employees in the footbath street are very friendly to the 2 brothers, and if they encounter any injustice, they will call on the 2 brothers to come forward to solve it. Zhao Chen's eyes darkened when he saw the 2 asking about what happened in the past. He didn't know how to explain his guilt towards them. In the end, he could only sigh and remain silent. "It's nothing, it's all in the past." Seeing this, the 2 brothers said no more. Chapter 32. Yu Wenlong suggested, "Brother Zhao, we haven't gotten together for a long time, how about going for a walk?" The second oldest, Yu Wenhu, nodded vigorously, "Yes, Brother Zhao." Seeing this, Zhao Chen smiled and nodded without being pretentious. Near morning, Tube Rose Barbecue Restaurant. The Yu brothers were so drunk that their eyes were blurry, but they were still talking nonsense. Yu Wenlong shook his head, his tongue curled together. "Brother Zhao, let me tell you, we haven't seen each other for so many years, this time I must fight with you. Today, a kid actually told us that you, Brother Zhao, stole his customers, and asked us to teach you a lesson. How could Brother Zhao be that kind of person? Just wait, I will beat that kid up tomorrow. How dare he slander Brother Zhao?" Yuan Hu explained clearly why they came to find Zhao Chen today. Zhao Chen sat opposite the 2 brothers and finally understood why they came to him. He supported his head with one hand and a plan slowly emerged in his mind. They drank until 8 in the morning before the 3 of them left the barbecue restaurant. The owner of the barbecue restaurant sighed heavily when he saw that they were finally satisfied with their meal and drink. "I put up a sign saying, 'Close today,' on the door, didn't clean up the table, closed the door and went to sleep." The next evening, Zhao Chen was awakened by the bedside alarm clock. He turned over and climbed out of the bed. He set the alarm for 5:30, and the normal working hours of the footbath city as 7 o'clock. Logically speaking, the rental house where he lived was only a 10-minute walk from Xinfan footbath city, so he had enough time to get up at 6:30. But he still had something to deal with today, which was the items left at Du Shiying's company. Last time, because he left his job in a hurry, he didn't have time to retrieve his things, including his wallet. There was no currency in it, but his ID card was still in it. After asking for an hour's leave from Jiangfan, Zhao Chen arrived at Longshan at the time when Longshan Group was getting off work. He sat for a while across from Longshan Street until it got dark and no one came in or out of the group. Zhao Chen looked at Du Shiying's office on the top floor. There was no light on inside. "I should still be able to sneak in." Zhao Chen muttered to himself, and approached the group in the cover of night, looking hurried. When the security guard at the gate saw that Zhao Chen's facial recognition was successful, he looked anxious again and guessed that Zhao Chen must be an employee who had left something at the company. Without asking too many questions, he smiled and watched Zhao Chen walk into the elevator. The elevator went up all the way and arrived at the top floor of the company. At this time, all the lights on the top floor had been turned off and it was extremely quiet. Turning on the flashlight on his cell phone, Zhao Chen went straight to his workstation. Seeing that his workstation was still the same as when he left and had not been cleaned, Zhao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Zhao Chen found an unused cardboard box in the corner and packed all the property he left at the company into it. No matter whether it is useful or not, since you brought it yourself, you must take it away even if it is a used toothpick. This is a black-hearted company that has ripped off 3 months' salary from me. It needs to go bankrupt immediately. Zhao Chen muttered to himself as he picked up the cardboard box. The next second, Zhao Chen, who turned around and was about to leave, bumped into the person behind him. The cardboard box fell to the ground, and all kinds of strange objects were scattered all over the floor. The most conspicuous of them were 3 boxes of condoms. This is the latest product released by Longxin's subsidiary. Zhao Chen fell to the ground, frightened out of his wits, and stepped back in fear. Are you a ghost? Not only do you walk without making any sound, but you also don't talk. Shiying stood with the handrail, looking down at Zhao Chen, with a hint of teasing on her face. Didn't you resign? Why are you back? Chapter 33. I still have some important things that I haven't taken away. Zhao Chen was extremely embarrassed. The important thing he was referring to was his ID card. However, Shiying glanced at the scattered items on the ground. Apart from some useless pens and notebooks, only condoms were the most conspicuous. She leaned over and faced Zhao Chen, her warm breath hitting Zhao Chen's nose. Is the condom so important? As she spoke, she reached out and pinched Zhao Chen's chin. Which woman likes this kind of condom? No. No, isn't this just to be prepared? Zhao Chen's eyes wandered, and he crawled back 2 steps in panic, but soon he realized that this statement was inappropriate, and explained, when others are in urgent need, I can sell it at a high price. Shiying stood up, her face returning to her usual cold expression. Zhao Chen, your resignation procedures have not yet been approved by the HR department. As long as you can rejoin the company, I will ask Chen Ku to pay you the salary I owe you. Forget it, I don't need money. Zhao Chen insisted on his actions, lowered his head and quickly packed up his things. After stuffing them back into the cardboard box, he left as if escaping. After he left, Shiying smiled as she picked up Zhao Chen's ID card from the ground in the corner, muttering, You're still so careless that you can even lose your ID card. Looking at the words Xinfan Footbath City on the work badge, Shiying's mouth curled up. Great, it seems that he has become a technician, and an A level 1 at that. How can I miss it? On the other side, after leaving Longshan, Zhao Chen went straight to the Footbath City. It's almost 8 o'clock now, and the number of customers will soon increase. If I can't get together 1,500 yuan for rent within a month, the colorful condoms will probably come in handy. Thinking of the appearance of the young tenant next door again, Zhao Chen couldn't help but tremble, and his steps became faster. At this time, in the men's locker room of Xinfan Footbath City, several male technicians were sitting together. Li Fuguei stood in the crowd, describing yesterday's events with great excitement. Let me tell you, didn't the new guy steal Brother Hong's clients yesterday? The other male technicians nodded. They had heard about this last night. It was said that when Sister Ju left, she told Brother Hong that he needed to contact her in the future. It was obvious that she was extremely disappointed with the Footbath City. Then do you know why the newcomer didn't come to work today? Li Fuguei obviously didn't intend to speak directly and whet everyone's appetite. A middle-aged man in his 50s touched his bald head and said, Xiao Li, don't keep us in suspense. Tell us now. We changed shifts yesterday and didn't know about this. Li Fuguei had a proud expression on his face. Then, guess how he found it? Brother Hong called Brother Yu. Hearing the words, Brother Yu, the others all took a deep breath. The middle-aged man continued to ask, what happened next? What happened next? Li Fuguei looked disdainful and said, didn't I tell you later? The new guy didn't go to work today. He's probably still lying in the hospital. Har ha har ha. At the same time, Hong Chuan came in from outside. He had just received last month's salary today and was in a good mood. In addition, he had just listened outside for a while and found that everyone was discussing this matter. He looked proud. The new guy made me lose Ms. Ju as a customer. I must let him know that I am not someone you can easily mess with. Hong Chuan just wants to let everyone know who is the number 1 male technician at Xinfan. Anyone who goes against him will definitely not end well. Putting down the freshly poured hot water, Hong Chuan pretended to be looking for massage supplies. but he was actually still eavesdropping. After a while, seeing that everyone had changed the subject, he left with the bucket. Chapter 34. Zhao Chen arrived late not long after Hong Chuan went on the clock. As soon as he entered the lounge, he heard several people laughing wildly. But when the people in the lounge saw him, the laughter stopped, and then there was Li Fugui's panicked and stuttering voice. "You're new here, how come you're still here?" "You're not. What's wrong with me?" Zhao Chen raised his eyebrows and pretended to be puzzled. "Why can't I come to work?" Li Fugui was speechless for a moment. Zhang Faozai stood up and glared at Zhao Chen. "You stole Brother Hong's client yesterday, and you still have the nerve to come to work. New here, I think you are really shameless." "Yes. You are so shameless. Maybe Brother Yu was not free last night. Just wait, Brother Yu will definitely come to trouble you today." Li Fugui also reacted. Normally, when Yu Wenlong heard the news, he promised to help solve the problem that day. As for the fact that Zhao Chen can still come to work now, it is probably because Yu Wenlong was delayed by other things last night. Zhao Chen was too lazy to explain to them. He changed into a technician's uniform and left the lounge. These people don't think about how to make money all day long. They just engage in intrigue and exclude newcomers. It makes as if customers come to the footbath city just for them, a classic example of using the platform as an on-site capability. Going down to the first floor, Zhao Chen didn't recognize today's receptionists, but they were also two beautiful ladies. At this time, the flow of people gradually increased, and Zhao Chen stood at the front desk, chatting with the cashier Zhang Xia. Although according to the customer flow of the footbath city, even if he stayed upstairs, he might still be assigned to a customer later. But how can being chosen be as good as choosing yourself? One by one, customers entered the footbath city and passed by Zhao Chen. Finally, a female boss and a group of sisters walked into the footbath city. When Zhang Xia was explaining the technician level and price to the middle-aged woman, the other party waved her hand and pointed at Zhao Chen. "No need to choose, I think this handsome boy is quite suitable." "What about the other technicians?" Zhang Xia asked. The female boss waved her hand and turned to look at the sisters behind her. "Girls, please choose whatever you want. I'm happy today. I'll pay for everyone's consumption." The girls cheered, and the female boss glanced at Zhao Chen's figure and nodded with satisfaction. "As for this handsome boy, you can book a room for me first." When Zhao Chen heard the word overnight, his eyes lit up. Someone finally saw through his pretense of being strong. Tears welled up in his eyes. "Boss, please follow me." Under the guidance of Zhao Chen, the female boss followed him up to the second floor. The male technicians in the lounge on the second floor poked their heads out when they heard the footsteps of guests coming upstairs. When Li Fugui saw Zhao Chen coming downstairs again to snatch away customers, he immediately lost his temper. Although the footbath city has no regulations prohibiting waiting for customers on the first floor, they are used to it and naturally sneer at such behavior. After Zhao Chen sent the female boss into the room, he came to the lounge to get the bucket. The group of technicians surrounded Zhao Chen. Li Fugui gritted his teeth and said, "Zhao Chen, you said you didn't steal customers." "The female boss who just came in was my customer before." Being surrounded, Zhao Chen raised his eyebrows. He remembered that the female boss had a new card, so how could she be Li Fugui's customer? Chapter 35. Now that the female boss was still waiting, Zhao Chen was too lazy to talk nonsense with these people. He pushed away Li Fugui who was blocking his way, picked up the bucket, and walked towards the water room. You are not allowed to use violence in the footbath city. This is the bottom line of the rules of the footbath city. Li Fugui looked at Zhao Chen's back and gritted his teeth in hatred. Soon, a plan came to his mind, and a grim smile appeared on his face. Inside the room, Zhao Chen was performing a massage. The female boss screamed and resigned herself to her fate at first, but in the end she found that her foot pain, which had lasted for years, was relieved by Zhao Chen's massage. She looked at Zhao Chen with blurry eyes, and then fell into a deep sleep. As time passed, Zhao Chen realized that the female boss had fallen asleep, so he stopped massaging her calves and left the room. Generally speaking, when the technicians in the footbath city see the boss fall asleep, they will continue to massage for at least half an hour longer. After all, it is difficult for the boss to overtime, but it is easy for you to overtime. If you press the button for one more second, you can earn one more second of money. Zhao Chen left the room and went into the bathroom to take a shower as usual. After he came out, Hong Chuan also returned to the lounge. Seeing that Zhao Chen had no injuries on his body, Hong Chuan was slightly surprised, but he still sneered in his heart. His idea was the same as Li Fugui's. The only reason Zhao Chen was safe and sound was because Brother Yu hadn't taken action yet. Thinking of this, Hong Chuan called Yu Wenlong. On the other end of the phone, Yu Wenlong's tone was a little cold, but he still agreed to come to the footbath city to cause trouble for Zhao Chen. Hong Chuan was obviously excited to get Yu Wenlong's affirmation. Although he felt that Yu Wenlong was a little strange today, he didn't think much about it. He just felt that the other party was a little dissatisfied with his urging. As it approached 10 o'clock, the number of customers in the footbath city increased again. After Zhao Chen received the returning customer Sister Ju, he watched Zhu Ru stagger away again. As for the rich woman Zhu Ru, after leaving the footbath city, her eyes were dazed on their way back in the car. Zhu Ru licked the corner of her mouth that she had bitten at some point, and recalled Zhao Chen's massage technique. After serving 2 customers, Zhao Chen was obviously beginning to run out of energy. He leaned against the sofa in the lobby of the footbath city, waiting for the next rich woman who could see through his pretense of toughness to appear. However, at this moment, Qin Wanyue ran to Zhao Chen in a hurry. Qin Wanyue frowned and looked at Zhao Chen with a worried look on her face. "Zhao Chen, it's already this late and you're still lying here, hurry up and leave." "Why am I leaving?" Zhao Chen looked confused and raised his head in confusion. "Isn't it only 10 o'clock? I remember that the footbath city stipulates that the closing time is 2 o'clock. I just heard that Hong Chuan asked Brother Yu to come to the footbath city. He came to find you," Qin Wanyue said, pulling Zhao Chen's arm. "Brother Yu hasn't come yet, you still have time to run. Once Brother Yu comes, you're done. Let's go." "Zhao Chen. Want to leave?" "Too late. Brother Yu will be here soon." At the same time, Hong Chuan appeared at the stairs. He looked at Zhao Chen and said, "Zhao Chen, since you dare to steal my customers, you should be prepared for revenge. Because you stole my customers, I called Brother Yu here. Even if the boss knew about this, he couldn't do anything to me." Hong Chuan looked smug and didn't take Zhao Chen seriously at all. Chapter 36. He just called Yu Wenlong again to inquire, and the other party told him that they had already arrived at the footbath street and would be here in a few minutes. Zhao Chen glanced at Hong Chuan. He hadn't even started to retaliate against him, but already the other party was looking for death. Shaking his head helplessly, Zhao Chen leaned back on the sofa again, sinking into it comfortably. At the same time, the 2 brothers Yu Wenlong and Yu Wenhu appeared at the gate of the footbath city. Seeing this, Hong Chuan immediately stepped forward to greet him. "Brother Yu, you are finally here." Then, Hong Chuan turned around and looked at Zhao Chen. "Zhao Chen, now I'll give you a chance to admit your mistake. As long as you can admit your mistake in front of everyone in the footbath city, kneel down to apologize to me, and compensate me for the loss of my customers you took away, I can forgive you." Behind Hong Chuan, Zhang Farzai immediately echoed, "Zhao Chen. Hurry up and apologize to Brother Hong. Kneel down and apologize." Seeing that Zhao Chen still looked indifferent, Qin Wanyue's face was filled with worry. Although Zhao Chen is the boss's friend, in the footbath street, even Jiang Fan dare not ignore Brother Yu's face. Besides, Brother Yu is famous and he doesn't give face to anyone. Previously, the largest footbath city on the footbath street was the Big Bucket footbath. Even though their boss showed up, Yu Wenlong still beat up the other party's employees in front of them. Moreover, the boss of the Big Bucket not only did not pursue the matter, he even apologized to Brother Yu. "Zhao Chen, why don't you apologize to Hong Chuan? Although you did nothing wrong in this matter, Brother Yu doesn't care about that." Qin Wanyue was about to cry. She didn't know why she was like this, as she had only met Zhao Chen a few times. On the sofa, Zhao Chen looked up at Hong Chuan. "You said I stole your customers. Please show me the evidence, don't just talk nonsense. Ms. Ju was indeed your customer before, but yesterday, before she chose me to give her a massage, I didn't say a word to her. What right do you have to accuse me of stealing your customers?" Zhao Chen stood up and gave Qin Wanyue a reassuring look. Qin Wanyue didn't know why, but even though she knew that Zhao Chen had no chance of settling the current situation, she still believed in him unconditionally. The heart that was originally pounding gradually calmed down. Seeing that Zhao Chen was still stubborn even at this time, Hong Chuan sneered, "Zhao Chen, I think you won't cry until you see the coffin." Then, Hong Chuan looked at Yu Wenlong and, in front of everyone, he recounted what happened last night with exaggeration. Yuanlong's brows furrowed further, of course not because he believed Hong Chuan's words, but because he simply didn't believe them at all. In his impression, Zhao Chen would never, and would not, take the initiative to snatch other people's customers. Seeing Yuanlong still hovering at the edge of the red temperature but still not taking action, Hong Chuan's eyes rolled and he began to criticize Zhao Chen. Brother Yu, Zhao Chen not only stole my customers, but I also told him before that you, brother Yu, would come and seriously resolve this matter. Guess what happened? Zhao Chen not only humiliated me, but he also said that in his eyes, brother Yu, you are just a little jerk. Hong Chuan spoke with great excitement, but Yu Wenlong finally couldn't stand it anymore and glared at Hong Chuan. Hong Chuan thought that the other party was going to attack Zhao Chen, and a smile of success appeared on his face. Zhao Chen, brother Yu will make you pay for what you did. Chapter 37. Yu Wenlong was so angry that his face turned red. Even though Zhao Chen had told him last night not to use violence in the future, he still couldn't stand Hong Chuan at this moment. With his 5 fingers clenched, Yu Wenlong punched Hong Chuan in the face. Hong Chuan was unable to dodge and was knocked to the ground by a punch. He looked at Yu Wenlong, his eyes full of confusion. You, brother Yu, why did you hit me? It was Zhao Chen who stole my customers and insulted you, you. Without giving Hong Chuan a chance to continue speaking, Yu Wenhu, who was behind Yu Wenlong, kicked forward. The kick was so powerful that the sound of the shin bone breaking was heard. Everyone present, except Zhao Chen, was stunned. Qin Wanyue turned her head away and dared not look. Some timid female technicians even started crying. Zhao Chen frowned and stood up, slapping Yu Wenhu on the head. You kid, why did you hit me so hard? If I break it, you have to pay for the loss of the footbath city. Although the footbath city is not his own, from another perspective, Hong Chuan is still his competitor. But from Zhao Chen's perspective, Jiangfan felt that the other party's behavior of beating up the employees of the footbath city was really excessive. Yu Wenhu touched his head, which was hurt by Zhao Chen's slap, and looked aggrieved. Brother Zhao, didn't he frame you? And my elder brother also hit me. Why did you slap my head? This is not fair. Yu Wenlong's originally cheerful expression faded upon hearing this. He raised his hand and slapped Yu Wenhu's big head. How can my fighting be the same as yours? Don't you see how strong you are? After 2 consecutive slaps, Yu Wenhu squatted in the corner and burst into tears. Everyone present saw that Zhao Chen actually slapped Yu Wenhu on the head, and Yu Wenhu not only did not dare to fight back, but also cried out of grievance. They all widened their eyes, their jaws almost dropped to the ground, and whispered. Zhao Chen actually dared to slap Yu Wenhu on the head, and Yu Wenhu didn't dare to fight back. Oh my god! What did I see? Didn't you hear Yu Wenhu calling Zhao Chen, brother Zhao? Is it possible that Zhao Chen was also a gangster before? I don't think so. Zhao Chen doesn't have the social airs of the Yu brothers. It seems to me that they have known each other for a long time. Hong Chuan lay on his back on the ground, holding his broken knee and screaming. Veins bulged on his forehead and fine cold sweat appeared on his skin. After a while, the ambulance arrived. He looked at Zhao Chen fiercely. Zhao Chen, this matter is not over today. And Yu Wenlong, Yu Wenhu, you guys can wait to go to jail. After Zhao Chen made these harsh remarks, he was taken away by an ambulance. Yu Wenlong looked at the ambulance going away and vomited the fragrance. Seeing that nothing happened, Zhao Chen asked the onlookers to disperse, and the Yu brothers left soon after. The crowd that had originally gathered at the entrance of the footbath city dispersed. At a time when the customer flow should have been the largest, Shinfan footbath city did not have a single new customer. Zhao Chen held his forehead with his hand. After this incident, Jiangfan would definitely complain to him crazily when he came tomorrow. Sitting back on the sofa, Zhao Chen felt drowsy. Last night he drank with the Yu brothers until morning, and when he got home he had to do various housework. He slept for less than 6 hours in total. After 2 consecutive massages tonight, he felt drained. However, just as Zhao Chen's consciousness was in chaos, a cold voice sounded in the lobby. Hello, help me find a technician. When he heard the voice, Zhao Chen jumped up from the sofa in response. The next second, he met Du Shiying's eyes full of teasing. Shit! How did this woman find this place? Chapter 38. Seeing the footbath city work permit in Du Shiying's hand, Zhao Chen touched his chest and then his pocket. Damn! I left my work ID card at the company and it was picked up by Du Shiying. At the front desk, Zhang Xia saw Shiying looking at Zhao Chen and immediately introduced him to her. "That's our new technician, an A-level technician. If you want him to do it, we can arrange it for you right away." Shiying nodded imperceptibly and pointed at Zhao Chen. "Okay, then it's him. Arrange a night for me. This is 10,000, all charged to the card." Zhang Xia immediately smiled happily. As receptionists, their main commission came from customer deposits. The higher the customer's deposit, the higher the commission they can get. If Shiying charges 10,000 yuan at one time, she can get a commission of 500 yuan at one time. For a small receptionist like her, this is almost 3 days' salary. "I'll arrange it for you right away." Zhang Xia held the mouse and clicked on the computer continuously. After a while, she handed a gold card to Shiying. Here is your card, enjoy your massage." As she spoke, Zhang Xia gave Zhao Chen a crazy look. Zhao Chen showed a smile that was uglier than crying, and took Shiying upstairs. "Hello, please follow me upstairs, I will arrange a massage for you right away. What services do you have for this overnight stay?" Shiying rubbed her neck. "I'm a little tired from work recently, so I came here to relax. We have foot massage, shoulder and neck massage, and full body massage." Although he was desperate, Zhao Chen still introduced the services professionally. He only finished the introduction after sending Shiying into the room. "You are quite knowledgeable." Shiying smiled frivolously, looking at Zhao Chen as if she was looking at him. "Give me the most complete massage. Even my hair will receive the most meticulous service." "Okay, I'll arrange it for you right away," Zhao Chen said, and left as if escaping. Shiying looked at Zhao Chen's back as he left and couldn't help laughing out loud. "Zhao Chen, it seems that I overestimated you. I didn't expect that even though you've become a technician, you'd still hurt me like this." On the other side, after Zhao Chen left the room, he found that some policemen had come up to the second floor. He didn't think much about it and continued to fetch water. He just treated the other party as someone who came for a routine checkup. However, not long after, when the hot water was only halfway through, Zhao Chen discovered that something was wrong. "Why did the police officer mention my name so many times?" Zhao Chen poked his head out in confusion and saw the middle-aged woman he had massaged at the beginning gesticulating wildly in front of him. Zhao Chen's mind was full of question marks. When the middle-aged woman saw Zhao Chen, she immediately pointed her finger at him with a ferocious expression on her face, as if she wanted to eat Zhao Chen alive. "Comrade police officer. It was him. He stole my things. There was more than 30,000 yuan in cash in my bag, as well as some gold and silver jewelry. He stole them all." The middle-aged woman took off the bag on her waist, poured it onto the floor, and all the items inside fell out. There was nothing there except some documents. Seeing this, the two policemen nodded, indicating that they understood the situation. An older policeman walked up to Zhao Chen and asked, "Sir, that lady said all the valuables in her bag were stolen. Do you know about this?" Chapter 39. After Zhao Chen understood the situation, he calmed down instantly. He pondered for a while and looked at the old policeman. "Comrade police officer, can you let me ask that lady for the specific time? If the other party really lost some property, then Zhao Chen would probably know who did it. The most important thing now is to determine whether the other party has lost the money. If not, then it would be a misunderstanding." "Okay," the old policeman nodded. With his years of experience, he could tell that Zhao Chen was not as panicked as most criminals. Instead, he was very calm and wanted to understand the situation first. "You can first confirm privately whether the money is lost. If it is indeed lost, we will open a case for investigation." Zhao Chen walked towards the middle-aged woman and asked, "Hello, are you sure that your belongings are lost and not misremembered?" "What else?" The middle-aged woman was excited and said in a high-pitched voice, "I just took this money out of the bank not long ago. Do you think I am deliberately framing you?" Many customers and technicians heard the noise in the corridor and popped their heads out of their rooms. Several male technicians who were already unhappy with Zhao Chen immediately started to exaggerate in front of the customers, especially Li Fugui. "Boss, you see, don't hire that male technician anymore. He will steal the customers' money. Just hire me now. I will never do such a thing." After hearing what Li Fugui said, the young woman behind him nodded. "Indeed, I wanted to order that handsome guy at first. If you hadn't recommended your cooking skills to me, I would have ordered you. Otherwise, my money might have been stolen now. At the same time, the middle-aged woman's companions also walked out of the room one after another. The middle-aged woman spoke to them, and they all understood the situation and glared at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen was being stared at by so many people, and he frowned as he thought about a solution. If he guessed correctly, there was a high probability that some or even all of these properties were in his own cabinet. The specific situation would depend on whether the person who framed him was greedy. If you are greedy, you still have room to whitewash yourself. But if you are not greedy, it will be difficult to prove your innocence. Thinking of this, Zhao Chen decided to take a gamble. He didn't believe that Li Fugui could resist the temptation of so much money. Looking directly at Li Fugui, Zhao Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Li Fugui and Zhao Chen made eye contact and couldn't help but shrink his neck. He closed the door of the room and continued to massage the young woman. As for why Zhao Chen knew that it was Li Fugui who did it, it can be traced back to what happened downstairs just now. Logically speaking, based on what he had learned about Li Fugui in the past 2 days, Li Fugui was not good at anything, but he was the best at joining in the fun. There was such a loud noise downstairs just now that an ambulance came. Even if Li Fugui was giving a massage to a customer at that time, he would still take some time to come down and take a look. It was impossible for him not to even show his face. The only possible reason for him not to join in the fun was that he wanted to commit a theft. But if this incident was really done by the other party, Zhao Chen didn't know what to say to the other party. It's like his brain was chewed by a donkey. Chapter 40. Looking at the women who were still talking about him, Zhao Chen led the old policeman into the lounge. "Comrade police officer, if I'm guessing correctly, there should be some valuables in my locker. I suspect someone wants to frame me." Zhao Chen pointed at the locker with his name on it. The locker, which was supposed to be wide open, was closed at some point, and the key was still in the door. The police officer followed Zhao Chen's instructions and opened the locker door. As expected, there was a gold ring and a pearl necklace lying in the locker, but other than that, there was no trace of a single banknote. The veteran policeman has been handling cases for many years, and when he saw the situation inside the counter, he had some guesses in his mind. But it was just a guess, he needed more evidence. "Where's the cash? Do you know where the cash is hidden?" The old policeman asked tentatively, but Zhao Chen did not answer and continued to speak to himself. "Logically speaking, if I stole this lady's property, I would not just put the ring and necklace in the cabinet and take the cash. So it's obvious that someone is framing me. As for who it is, I'll have to rely on the police to figure it out." On the other side, Shiying also heard the noise in the corridor. At first, she had no intention of watching the fun, but just continued to wait patiently in the room. But after waiting for a while, she found that Zhao Chen had not come yet, so she pushed the door open and stuck her head out. Seeing that the lounge was full of people, she was a little confused and came over. In the lounge, Zhao Chen's eye swept across a row of lockers and stopped in front of Hong Chuan's locker. There are only 2 A-level male technicians in the footbath city now. If Li Fugui wants to frame himself, then he will most likely involve Hong Chuan as well. Even if others believed what he said and started searching other lockers, they would find the remaining stolen money in the Hong Chuan locker. At this point, the worst outcome would be that he and Hong Chuan argued endlessly, and both of them were taken away by the police for investigation. By then, the footbath city will most likely take into account the pressure of public opinion and expel both himself and Hong Chuan. In the end, he will gain a lot of say in the footbath city. Zhao Chen thought so but didn't point it out deliberately. The old policeman clearly saw that Zhao Chen knew something else, but he just wouldn't say it, and he became a little anxious. "Sir, what you said before is just your guess. It cannot be used to prove that you didn't steal these things. If you want to prove your innocence, you must show that you did not steal the property. After all, you are the one serving this lady. You don't have any evidence to prove that I stole these, right?" Zhao Chen chuckled. "So the best direction of investigation is to start with fingerprints, which is relatively simple. I think someone who can frame me in such a low-level way probably won't remember to wipe off the fingerprints on the ring." Upon hearing this, the old policeman felt that what Zhao Chen said made sense, so he nodded and prepared to call someone to collect the evidence. However, at this moment, Li Fugui, who was originally preparing to give his boss a massage but couldn't help but come out to check the situation, could no longer hold back and immediately stood out from the crowd. "Zhao Chen, you stole something and you still want to make excuses. Police comrade, I just saw Zhao Chen coming out of this lady's room with my own eyes. He just. The old policeman looked at Li Fugui with a frown. He felt that the yellow-haired man was a little strange, but he did not interrupt Li Fugui. Li Fugui's mind was working rapidly. On one hand, he demonstrated Zhao Chen's stealing behavior to everyone, and on the other hand, he gradually approached Zhao Chen's locker. While no one was reacting, he grabbed the gold ring and necklace. That's how he held these things, police comrade.